Mom asks why Daen is so small compared to his tall brother Dajong despite eating identical meals. A thud sounds as Dajong calls Daen useless for being unable to lift a box, though she insists she can. Schoolmates mock Dane's height, laughing and questioning how he managed to organize the high library shelves alone. Angered by their disbelief, Dane asserts that he did everything himself, despite being short. Gyeonggi Middle School stands tall. A math exam paper confirms that Kim Dane achieved a perfect score of 100. Dane's mother embraces her with a cheerful laugh to celebrate her daughter's perfect exam results. A group of schoolboys confusingly ask Dane to go out with them while laughing amongst themselves. She rejects the offer to focus on her studies, leading the boy to insult her appearance before she vows to find a better partner in college. Fellow students celebrate Daen as student council president for her perfect scores on the college ability test. Kim Dane is formally announced as the valedictorian of her graduating class. A banner celebrates the 2025 entrance ceremony for a prestigious university where Dane is a featured speaker. She stamps her resolution bingo card, completing goals for university entrance while aiming to find a handsome boyfriend. A girl hugs her diary happily.
Dane studies while eating ramen.
A phone notification alerts the business freshman to an opening meeting held at a local chicken and beer restaurant. Preparing an outfit with care, Dane admires herself in the mirror, glad the meeting doesn't require removing her shoes so she can maintain her height. A quick pitter-patter sounds as she skips down the hall while humming. She reaches for specific shoes to ensure her outfit is perfect and her height exceeds 160 centimeters. An empty spot in the rack. Dane gasps in shock upon realizing her intended shoes are nowhere to be found.
She shouts for her mother, frantically demanding to know where her shoes have gone.
She thinks about the platform sneakers that are essential for her to reach her height goal. Her mother, wearing a facial mask, explains that the sneakers were sent for cleaning, causing Daen to cry out in frustration. Her mother tells her to stop whining and hurry up as Daen grumbles about her bad luck. Low black sneakers await her. Walking onto the train, Dane feels her confidence drop significantly due to her choice of footwear. She notices plenty of empty seats and considers it a fair trade for her missing platform shoes. Though initially happy with her seat, she is quickly crushed between two men and regrets her earlier optimism. An announcement signals the train's arrival as Dane is dwarfed by a massive crowd of passengers. Exhaustion takes over as she wonders if she can truly handle the daily commute to school. She breathes a sigh of relief as she finally finds a moment of space on the platform.
A sudden yell escapes her as the crowd begins to surge forward again.
Pressed against others, she panics and struggles to breathe in the middle of the crush. A hand reaches for support.
She looks up in surprise, wondering what is happening.
A gray-haired man appears nearby. Dane is stunned by the appearance of the stranger who is helping her. She captures a moment of awe, thinking about how handsome the man is. She shakes her head to clear her thoughts, telling herself that her initial impression was wrong. A heavy thud sounds as the gray-haired man uses his strength to shield her from the crowd. Golden light fills the restaurant. A quiet tapping sounds as she peeks through the glass doors of the restaurant.
She lets out a sharp cry as she accidentally bumps into a man.
The men at the table mock her small stature and click their tongues, leaving Dane fuming at their rudeness. A senior student wearing glasses asks if she is a business freshman attending the opening meeting. He kindly tells her she can sit anywhere as the room is expected to fill up quickly. Dane notices the noise level of the nearby table and decides it is best to avoid them. She spots a quiet and comfortable area that looks like a much better place to sit. Whispers fill the restaurant as Dane enters, with patrons mocking her curly hair and tacky school uniform style while misidentifying her as a short boy. Feeling a sense of unease, she wonders if the judgmental atmosphere is all in her head. Approaching a fellow student, she introduces herself as Kim Daen, and Non Bo-young shyly responds with her own name.
As a chair is pulled out with a loud sound, Nam Bo-young begins to offer a polite greeting.
A tall, stunning woman with long, dark hair leans over the table.
Both girls stare up at the newcomer in stunned silence.
The beautiful stranger pours herself a glass of water and drinks it with effortless grace. Disbelief and awe fill the table as the two girls watch the newcomer. Nam Bo-young asks the beautiful woman if she is a model, but the stranger denies it with humble surprise. While the group discusses the woman's slim figure and diet, Daen feels frustrated by the obvious comparison being made to her own appearance. A sudden exclamation escapes them both as they turn around. Confusion fills Dane's expression as a crowd of students approaches. Students swarm the table, praising the beautiful woman for being the top of her class and the freshman representative. Stunned by the attention, the woman asks if they mean her, as the seniors lament how unfair it is for her to be both smart and beautiful. Dane attempts to correct the misunderstanding, but the seniors ignore her to invite the other woman to dinner instead. Despite her persistent efforts to claim her achievements, the seniors continue to dote on the beautiful woman and offer their help. Frustrated by the stolen credit, Dane cries out in protest until a senior insists the other girl was the representative, leaving her stunned as a tall man appears behind her. A wave of shock spreads through the group of students. Struck by the new arrival's presence, Nam Bo-young wonders aloud who the handsome stranger could be.
A tall man with grayish hair and headphones around his neck stands silently.
Dane looks up at him and recognizes him with a gasp. A memory of the same man shielding her on the train flashes through her mind.
The entire group of students stares at him in collective silence.
The seniors continue to shower the other woman with praise, assuming she is the smart one and asking when she will buy them a meal.
Girls immediately surround the handsome newcomer, swooning over his name after he introduces himself as Cha Su-yen.
Cha Su-yeon looks slightly flustered by the sudden attention while the dark-haired girl looks on.
Empty bottles of beer and soju clutter the messy table.
A senior notes that since both girls are named Dane, they simply assumed the prettier one was also the top student.
The seniors assign nicknames, calling the tall girl Kangda and labeling the real valedictorian Jakda because she is short, despite her protests about her surname.
Dane fumes internally, finding it incredibly annoying that the other girl shares her name.
A senior insists on a celebratory drink for the new nickname, but Dane tries to refuse by explaining she has reached her limit. The drunk senior continues to pressure her, claiming it is a rare honor for him to pour a drink and acting hurt by her rejection.
Feeling dizzy, Diane resolves to endure the situation to avoid a scene, reminding herself not to lose her temper.
The senior grabs her hand and insists she take one more beer, framing her refusal as a rejection of his affection.
Boiling with rage, she fumes over the senior's forced drinks, his unwanted touching, and his arrogant insistence on calling himself her brother.
A sharp smack sounds as a hand intervenes.
Surprised gasps fill the room as fellow students scramble to record the sudden confrontation on their phones.
Cha Su-yeon gazes coldly at the senior, questioning why anyone is still forcing people to drink in this day and age.
Outraged, the senior demands to be released, but Cha Su-yeon retorts that the senior should let go of Kim Dae-yeon's hand first. Amazed by the intervention, Dane realizes this is the third time today she has been saved. A sudden, loud shout erupts from the cider.
Nam Bo-young stands up heroically with her arms spread wide.
She begins chugging a massive glass of beer in one go.
Everyone at the table watches the spectacle in stunned silence.
Finishing the drink, she loudly declares that the matter is settled. The restaurant remains in a state of chaotic drinking and loud chatter.
Dane frantically tries to give the semi-conscious Nam Bo-young some water while the girl insists she is fine.
Rubbing his wrist in pain, the senior grumbles that even his own mother has never grabbed him with such force.
Drunken students collapse across the chairs and tables of the restaurant. Night falls over the street where the chicken and beer restaurant stands. Outside the restaurant, Kim Dane expresses her gratitude to Nam Bo-young for drinking on her behalf. Nam Bo-young hugs her back with a drunken, happy laugh, insisting she was glad to help her friend. In a small, cartoonish moment, Kim Dane asks if Nam Bo-young can manage to walk home on her own. The drunken girl stumbles slightly while insisting she is walking perfectly fine, though the shorter girl remains unconvinced. A moment of sudden realization. As she walks, Kim Dane spots a tall man standing alone near a building's entrance. Recognizing the man as Cha Su-yeon, she stares at his profile in silence while wondering why he is standing there by himself.
Kim Dane tells Nam Bo-young to stay put for a second and dashes off.
Her friend watches with confusion, wondering where she is going so suddenly.
A flashback shows Cha Su-hyun shielding her with his arm on the crowded subway train.
She recalls how she desperately tried to claim her identity as the freshman representative earlier that evening. His intense, handsome gaze captures her. A powerful realization hits her.
A look of bold determination.
Looking at her resolution card, she wonders if her secret goal of finding a handsome boyfriend is already about to come true. Thinking it over, she decides she can easily overlook the fact that he is much larger and taller than her.
A quiet pitter-patter sounds as she walks toward Cha Su-hyun while Nam Bo-young watches from a distance.
A quick tap sounds as she pokes the tall man's arm and calls out his name.
Cha Su-hyun turns his head with a confused expression.
With her hand outstretched, Kim Dae-yeon boldly asks Cha Su-yeon to be her boyfriend.
Stunned by the sudden proposal, he remains speechless. She waits with bright, hopeful eyes. Cha Su-hyun apologizes and explains that he just agreed to date the woman standing beside him. A collective gasp of shock. Kim Dae-yeon stands frozen while Nam Bo-young watches in horror, and several nearby boys record the embarrassing scene on their phones.
The tall, dark-haired woman blushes and laughs while tucking a strand of hair behind her ear.
In a frantic, cartoonish outburst, Kim Dae-yeon wails in despair as the tall woman playfully tells her it is too early to claim a boyfriend.
A student sits alone at a desk.
A series of high school memories shows Kim Dane failing at volleyball while her classmates laugh at her clumsy efforts. Despite the mockery, she smiles proudly while surrounded by her classmates after being elected student council president. A group of boys approaches her with a mocking invitation to go out, laughing amongst themselves as she looks on with suspicion. An error message appears over her high school self as she rejects the boys to focus on her studies, vowing to deal with romance later.
celebrated for another perfect exam score.
She delivers her valedictorian speech.
She imagines a perfect romantic date.
A sudden, dark transition occurs.
She imagines a rude senior mockingly calling her Pretty Dane because she is small, though the narration clarifies he never actually said that.
She continues to imagine others being surprised that she was the valedictorian, though it is another false memory. In her frustrated imagination, Cha Soo-hyun smiles and repeats that he has already started dating the other woman. She laments losing a boyfriend who was never actually hers to begin with. A cry of total loss. The tall woman laughs happily while brushing her hair, leaving Kim Dane feeling completely defeated. A tall, dark-haired girl eats ramen inside a wardrobe.
Bright sunlight shines over the campus.
Students chatter loudly in a classroom as someone notes that Kim Dane has become famous.
As Kim Jae-in and Nam Bo-young sit together, a hand suddenly places a smartphone on the desk in front of them.
A tall woman with long red hair and a denim skirt introduces herself as Seo Hana, a student council executive.
Both girls stare at the screen in wide-eyed horror. An online forum is filled with comments laughing at the brave girl and wondering about her identity.
The comments continue to mock her short stature and frizzy hair, labeling her the shortest person in the department.
Standing over them, Seo Hana asks if the post about her becoming famous is what she is looking at. Kim Dae-in frantically denies it.
Seo Hana bluntly states that the entire student body now knows about her public confession and her subsequent rejection.
Nearby, Cha Soo-hyun sits quietly at a desk while the tall, dark-haired woman leans toward him. Seo Hana notes that she was overshadowed by the other girl who seems to attract attention without doing anything at all. Kim Dae-in, Nam Bo-young, and the red-haired Seo Hana sit together at a desk. Seo Hana asks if she is being teased, looking toward the two surprised girls. Explaining that she came to share news, Seo Hana notes that they do not seem to use social media much. She holds up her phone, mentioning she heard they were interested in the student council. The phone screen displays a recruitment notice for the 2025 Business Administration Student Council. Kim Dane stares at the notice with wide-eyed shock. Flashback bubbles show them discussing the early recruitment and the Instagram post from the orientation period. Excited by the news, Kim Dane suggests they all follow the council page and each other.
Nam Bo-young mentions she rarely uses Instagram, but Seo Hana insists it does not matter.
Feeling left out of the social loop, Nam Bo-young looks dejected as she holds her phone. Seo Hana warmly reassures the girl that she is her very first Instagram friend at the school.
In the classroom, the atmosphere is thick with gossip as students point and whisper about the orientation girl.
Kim Dane looks around in confusion, noticing the strange attention.
A sudden thud sounds as students mockingly discuss her public confession and her frizzy hair. Kim Dae-in internally admits she likes attention, but certainly not this kind of negative scrutiny.
The professor, Seo Tae-sik, introduces himself and announces a brief orientation for the business statistics course.
Flustered by the unwanted gaze of the room, Kim Dane hunches over her tablet. She looks toward Cha Soo-hyun and the tall Kang Dae-in, annoyed by how close they already seem to be. Watching them pair up, she feels a surge of bitterness about the end of days.
She tries to brush it off, telling herself that romance was never her top priority anyway.
A rapid pitter-patter sounds as she furiously types on her tablet, vowing to find someone far better. The professor announces that team assignments for groups of 2 have been randomly posted on the school portal.
The room erupts into complaints and groans as students check their random pairings. Kim Dane checks her phone, hoping to stay away from the rumors while looking for her name on the portal.
A sudden loud gasp escapes her as she stares at the group list in horror.
Nam Bo-young asks what is wrong as Kim Dae-in remains frozen in disbelief. Looking at the screen, she can barely process the shocking revelation. Overwhelmed by her bad luck, she laments the state of her life. A quick tap sounds as she sets her phone down on the table. Nam Bo-young watches her friend with an expression of pure concern. With a sudden burst of energy, Kim Dane jumps up and dashes out of the classroom.
Nam Bo-young calls out after her while Cha Soo-hyun and Kang Dae-in sit quietly in the foreground.
Kang Dae-in asks Cha Soo-hyun if he is truly okay being paired with the girl who confessed to him. She mockingly brings up the events of the previous night, questioning the awkward situation. Cha Soo-hyun dryly asks if she expects him to date both of them to solve the problem.
Without another word, he stands up and begins to leave the courtroom.
Kang Dane is left stunned and speechless by his cold dismissal.
A rapid pitter-patter sounds as Kim Dane sprints down the hallway in pursuit of the teaching assistant. She calls out desperately to catch the assistant's attention. Catching her breath, she introduces herself as a new business statistics student. The assistant waits patiently for her to state her business. She explains her urgent desire to change her assigned project group as her friend catches up. She proposes switching to be with Nam Bo-young, but the assistant repeats the professor's strict rule. Kim Dane pleads desperately for an exception to the random pairing.
The portal shows that Nam Bo-young is already paired with the other Kang Dae-in in Group 17.
Cha Soo-hyun, with his headphones visible, bluntly states he has no intention of changing his group. The assistant walks away, leaving Kim Dae-in to fume over Cha Soo-hyun's refusal to help her. She notes his strict professional boundaries just as he suddenly calls out her name.
A heavy thud sounds as someone stops in their trucks.
Kim Dane turns around in shock, finding the tall man standing directly over her.
Looking down at her, the black-haired Cha Soo-yeon suggests they work well together from now on, leaving the orange-haired Kim Dane completely stunned. As the tall man walks away, Kim Dane stands frozen in despair while Nam Bo-young asks if she is okay.
The long-haired woman laughs while noting that the man's personality is truly intense, causing Kim Dae-in to turn around.
A rapid pitter-patter sounds.
Kim Dane dashes ahead and blocks Cha Soo-yeon's path with her arms wide, catching him off guard as he checks his phone.
In a cartoonish moment, she demands to know why, and he simply notes it is because they were paired together.
She wails in protest as he asks if there is an urgent reason to go through the hassle of switching groups.
He notes it is a simple assignment where they solve a few problems, but she thinks he is being nonchalant because he has not seen the post.
He asks if there is anything else before heading out, putting on his headphones while Kim Dane looks on in frustration.
She stops him to ask if he has seen the post on the social forum yet, and he bluntly admits he has.
Looking surprised, she hears him repeat that he already saw the post.
She asks why he is acting this way, and he asks what the issue is, leading her to complain about strangers gossiping behind her back.
He advises that if it causes her stress, she should just ignore it because rumors eventually fade away, though she wonders how she can.
She stares up at him with wide, troubled eyes. She explains that she cannot ignore it because classmates were glancing and whispering about her throughout the entire day.
She suggests that ignoring such things is only easy for someone as confident as he is.
Her voice trails off as she looks toward the whispering students in the distance.
She admits with a sad expression that she simply cannot ignore the negative attention.
She wishes she could be like him, admitting that if she could ignore them, she would not be here begging for his help.
Cha Soo-yeon looks down at her with a stoic and silent gaze.
He tells her that building her self-esteem would be a much better use of her time than bickering with him, leaving her devastated.
He walks off while Nam Bo-young checks on her friend and the long-haired woman yells after him in disbelief. Fuming with rage, Kim Dae-in yells about how he dared to tell her to work on her self-esteem.
She screams that they should just do the assignment separately, and he dismissively agrees while the other girl looks on with shock.
With a look of pure determination, she vows to make up for her grades in a different class instead.
Cha Soo-yeon relaxes while sitting on a wall with a cat and a carton of milk.
The sun shines over a quiet and peaceful campus landscape.
Nam Bo-young shows off her new semester nail art and asks if it looks cute.
Kim Dane asks if the nails are uncomfortable, but Bo-young explains that they feel completely natural once you get used to them.
As they walk up the stairs, Bo-young lists the benefits of the nails just before a voice calls out to her.
Red-haired Seo Hana mockingly welcomes the celebrity, noting how often Kim Dae-in has appeared on the Hot Topic boards lately.
Kim Dane tries to pull Nam Bo-young away while Hana suggests she should join the social forum.
A boy with glasses mentions a post about her fighting in the hallway and asks if the fluffy squirrel is seeking revenge.
The group begins to playfully touch Kim Dane's frizzy hair while repeatedly calling her fluffy.
They tease her for getting angry while her frustration continues to grow.
She recalls the man's cold advice about building her self-esteem.
A quick tap sounds as she pats her hair down and decides to ignore the viral fame to focus on class.
Seo Hana asks if she was meant to be in a different class and points toward the creative leader's lecture hall.
Kim Dane explains her registration mistake, and Hannah asks how she will handle group projects in another department section.
In a small panel, she continues to argue her case while Seo Hana watches. Hannah offers to walk her to the class while Kim Dane remembers she needs to apply for the student council.
A phone displays posts admiring a goddess and visual queen in the business building.
Hannah asks why Kim Dane is telling her about the posts and wonders if it is annoying.
Hannah notes that people like the girl even when she does nothing, and Kim Dae-in decides she needs to leave quickly.
A heavy thud sounds as Kim Dane bumps into a boy with glasses. The boy apologizes for the collision as the other girls ask if the tiny Kim Dane is okay.
Seo Hana demands that the boy speak more clearly. The boy bows deeply and apologizes again for being distracted while looking for the lecture hall. Kim Dane realizes he is headed to the same class and sees a perfect opportunity to escape Seo Hana. She tells the boy she's going there too and suggests they walk together, leaving Nam Bo-young and Hana behind.
The orange-haired girl looks on in shock. The boy with glasses looks equally stunned. In the lecture hall, Professor Jang In-hee welcomes students to the Creative Talent Leadership course, while Kim Dae-in asks Nam Bo-young if she also messed up registration.
Nam Bo-young explains she switched classes to avoid being lonely, while Kim Dae-in wonders if she would have been fine on her own.
In a series of dreamlike drawings, Nam Bo-young admits she always imagined taking college classes with her best friend and going on dates with a soulmate. Nam Bo-young beams with pure, sparkly excitement.
Surprised by the sudden closeness, the orange-haired girl asks if they are already best friends after only 3 days.
Nam Bo-young worries about freeloaders while noting that the team-based nature of the course makes it harder to handle alone.
Kim Dane agrees that having a friend is much more reassuring than being surrounded by strangers. The professor instructs the students to form groups of 4 to 6, offering to assign one for those who cannot find their own team.
Kim Dane maintains a flat and skeptical expression.
Sitting with their new group members, Kim Dane notes that the course seems to be a required liberal arts class for first years. The tall man is revealed as Chung Hanul, a physical education major from the class of 2019, much to Kim Dae-in's surprise.
The boy with glasses, Yoo Ji-hoon, a computer science major from the class of 2025, nervously admits he is happy to be in the group.
The group of 4 sits together, with Kim Dae-in looking annoyed while Boyoung sparkles and the boys settle into their seats.
Kim Dane suggests the senior should be the group leader, but he mockingly rejects the idea.
Chung Hanul explains that his student teaching duties this year will make it difficult for him to serve as the group leader.
When asked for a schedule, the brown-haired man gives a vague answer of April or May, leading the orange-haired girl to question his lack of planning.
A quick, sudden tap sounds as a hand sets a phone down on the table. The tall man dismissively tells the girl she will understand his situation.
Kim Dae-in irritably corrects her name while privately judging his attitude, just as Nam Boyoung asks if his schedule means he will skip the project work.
Chung Han-yul suggests his involvement depends on the situation while checking a chat about a high-quality girl, as Kim Dae-in notes how busy he seems.
The tall man suggests that Bomi should be leader, forcing Nam Bo-young to correct her name before he promises to be at the next class while misnaming Kim Dae-in once again.
As Kim Dane stares in disbelief at his constant name mistakes, Hanul mockingly praises the boy with glasses for having a sharp memory.
A quick, sudden tap sounds as Kim Dane closes her book, announcing they should leave as the session wraps up for the day.
Nam Bo-young waves goodbye to the senior as she and the orange-haired girl begin to head out of the classroom.
Chung Han-ul watches them leave with a calculating and suspicious smirk.
As the two girls walk away, the high costs of Nam Bo-young's luxury items are displayed while an unseen observer thinks the fashion does not suit her.
A sudden, sharp slip sounds as Nam Bo-young loses her footing on the stairs and cries out in alarm.
Kim Dane reaches out in desperation, shouting her friend's name as the girl begins to fall.
A sudden, firm grasp sounds as a muscular arm reaches out and catches the falling girl. Nam Bo-young finds herself safely caught in a tight embrace, looking up at her savior in complete shock.
Chung Han-ul holds the blushing Nam Bo-young in his arms while the orange-haired Kim Dae-in looks on with an expression of pure disgust.
A sudden, heavy thud sounds in the girl's heart as the tall man gently touches her cheek and notes that her pretty hair is now a mess.
With a charming smile, Chung Han-ul promises to see Nam Bo-young at the next class.
A wide shot shows Nam Bo-young standing in a daze while the orange-haired girl looks on and the tall man walks away. A sudden, rapid pitter-patter sounds as Kim Dane shakes her love-struck friend who is surrounded by floating hearts and asks if she thinks this was fate.
Nam Bo-young beams with joy, absolutely convinced that the encounter was a work of destiny.
Kim Dane sits at a cafe table with her head resting on her hand, looking thoroughly unimpressed.
Kim Dane and the boy with glasses sit together at a cafe table working on their laptops.
Kim Dane stares intensely from the background as Chung Han-ul approaches the counter, offering to help with the payment.
A quick, sudden snap sounds as the tall man stands at the counter with a smirk while Nam Bo-young looks on in surprise. A quick, sudden tap sounds as a tray of coffee and desserts is placed on the table.
Chung Han-ul tells the group to eat their fill since he is paying, earning a grateful response from Boyoung and Yoo Ji-hoon while Kim Dae-in remains silent.
Kim Dane fumes with rage, thinking about how irritating he is for acting like he paid himself as the tall man prepares to leave with his coffee. Chung Han-ul confirms he is busy and explains his constant phone checking by claiming his wristwatch is broken, causing Nam Bo-young to gasp in concern.
The tall man casually heads out, telling the group to handle the project without him and misnaming the orange-haired girl once more as he says goodbye. Kim Dane irritably corrects her name for the final time while her friends look on in a mixture of surprise and frustration.
Kim Dane informs the group that Yoo Ji-hoon has sent a chat update with the project page link, and the boy with glasses confirms he will check it. The orange-haired girl looks over with curiosity and asks Nam Bo-young what she is currently doing on her phone.
A sudden, sharp pitter-patter sounds as a phone screen displays a search for luxury watches, with the brown-haired Nam Bo-young apologizing for the distraction.
The orange-haired Kim Dane suggests they focus on the project first as the phone screen continues to show high-end men's timepieces.
Leaning over her devices in a cafe, Nam Bo-young reacts with sudden excitement to something she finds on her phone.
A thought bubble surrounded by hearts reveals a social media post of a muscular man swimming, questioning if he is attractive.
Nam Bo-young sits amidst a spread of desserts and tea, looking pleasantly surprised while holding her phone.
Back in the classroom, Kim Dane finds the assignment more difficult than anticipated but remains determined to manage somehow. A memory of a past disagreement shows Kim Dane and her companions arguing about working individually, leading her to regret her suggestion.
Kim Dane stares intensely at her work with a skeptical and frustrated expression. Watching Cha Soo-yeon work diligently nearby, Kim Dae-in is impressed by how well he is handling the task she proposed they do alone. Seeing the quality of his work, Kim Dane feels tempted to use an answer file to ease her burden.
Shaking off the temptation, the orange-haired girl encourages herself to stay focused to avoid failing her exams.
Nambo Young and a long-haired student discuss their progress, with the latter suggesting they use an answer key for the blanks.
Kim Dane questions if Nambo Young skipped the work to meet a senior, while her friend claims he had something urgent to do.
Cha Soo-hyun looks over at the struggling students and asks if the assignment is really that difficult.
The long-haired girl admits her job kept her from working, but she and Nambo Young are amazed to see that Soo-hyun has finished everything.
With a pleading expression, the long-haired student begs Soo-hyun to let her copy his work just this once.
The student continues to beg with wide, desperate eyes, hoping for his help. Soo-hyun allows them to use his answers, and the long-haired girl excitedly tells Nambo Young they should submit them immediately.
The girl is puzzled that the file is incomplete, but Soo-hyun explains he split the remaining work with Kim Dae-in.
Kim Dane tells her friends they must handle their own assignments in the future, prompting a grateful promise from the long-haired student.
The long-haired girl returns the notes to Soo-hyun with a bright smile of appreciation.
Soo-hyun instructs them to turn in the assignment for the group before saying goodbye to both Dae-in and Bo-young.
Kim Dane watches the others with a flat and unimpressed expression as the session ends.
Reviewing the answers, Kim Dane acknowledges their high quality while imagining a man encouraging her to keep up.
A red-haired girl and a man enter the room, discussing the student council and noting that Soo-hyun rarely shares his work.
The pair teases Soo-hyun for being soft on his group, leaving Kim Dae-in annoyed that they are gossiping right in front of her.
Kim Dae-in asks the man about his connection to Soo-hyun, and he boasts about their shared school history despite her doubts.
The man continues his bragging in the cafeteria while Soo-hyun and the long-haired student eat, ignoring the conversation entirely.
Soo-hyun suggests that the girls should eat more and recommends a better restaurant for their next outing.
The dark-haired man reaches out and hands a large white shopping bag to the surprised student.
The girl looks inside the bag with a bewildered expression, noticing a brand name on the item within.
Protesting the expensive gift, the girl is told by Soo-hyun that it is merely a spare he had at home.
The girl wonders if he is incredibly wealthy, but he insists the devices are just a hobby and pushes her to accept it for her studies.
Deeply moved by the gesture, the student declares that she has judged his character correctly as a good person.
A sudden, sharp pitter-patter sounds as a phone on the table vibrates with a set alarm for 4 o'clock.
A sudden, loud clatter sounds as the girl realizes her work shift is starting and hastily thanks Soo-hyun before running off.
A sudden, rapid zoom sounds as the long-haired girl dashes away in a blur, leaving a stunned Soo-hyun behind.
Cha Soo-hyun checks his watch and considers how he should spend the rest of his free time.
The scene shifts to a school hallway illuminated by the golden light of the setting sun as someone walks by.
A sudden heavy grunt sounds as Kim Dane struggles to carry a massive stock of textbooks down the quiet corridor.
Mumbling locker numbers to herself, Kim Dane stops abruptly as she notices a figure sitting further down the hall. A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as the orange-haired girl recognizes the person waiting in the hallway.
Cha Soo-hyun sits on a bench with headphones over his ears, looking down at his phone in the fading light.
A close-up shot captures the man's calm and stoic expression as he looks up.
Soo-hyun asks what she's doing alone and inquires about her friend, and Kim Dae-in explains that she had to go to work.
The dark-haired man watches her silently as she balances the heavy load of books.
Kim Dane offers a brief, awkward response while privately struggling to find something to say to him. The orange-haired girl quickly walks away to find her locker, feeling the tension of the quiet encounter.
Kim Dane looks up at the top row of lockers with frustration, realizing her books must go into a high compartment.
A sudden, heavy thud sounds as she prepares to lift the books, wondering if he thinks she only speaks to him out of necessity. Kim Dane reaches for a high locker, thinking about social survival.
She's annoyed that Cha Soo-hyun only gave a short answer. Vowing to stay silent, she panics as her heavy books slip.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as the orange-haired girl realizes her mistake.
A sudden, sharp top sounds as the falling books are caught. Kim Dane looks up in complete bewilderment.
A muscular hand reaches over her to secure the slipping books.
The orange-haired girl looks back, wondering who is behind her. Cha Soo-hyun looks down with a calm, stoic expression.
Flustered by his proximity, Dane wonders why he's grabbing the locker.
The school hallway is bathed in the golden light of sunset. Cha Soo-hyun sits alone, enjoying the quiet while checking his phone. A sudden, quick tap sounds as he notices someone approaching. He looks up and recognizes the orange-haired girl passing by. He watches her, noting that the books she's carrying look heady. The dark-haired man considers whether or not to offer his help. He recalls her previous insistence on working separately from the group. He watches her struggle from a distance. He prepares himself to listen, even if she decides to snap.
Approaching the struggling girl, he calls out her name.
Startled by his voice, she nearly drops her heavy load.
A sudden, firm grasp sounds as he reaches up to help her.
A close-up shot captures the calm intensity in his eyes.
Dane is frozen in shock by how close he has gotten.
He asks if she is all right, causing her to react with loud surprise.
A sudden, rapid pitter-patter sounds as she stammers and struggles to speak.
She panics about his closeness, thinking of his supposed girlfriend.
He continues to stare at her, leaving her confused and flustered. A mood of intense anticipation builds as he reaches toward her.
She wonders if he's about to ask her on a date.
He actually proposes a locker swap, prompting her to scream in denial. Seeing her reaction, he calmly tells her to forget the suggestion.
She questions his behavior given his relationship, but he finds no correlation with swapping lockers.
Kim Dane looks up at him, confused by the locker proposal.
He explains that his locker is much easier for her to use.
She wonders why he is even concerned about her locker spot.
After clarifying the misunderstanding, she agrees to the swap.
Cha Soo-yeon hands over his book as they finalize the trade. He notes that he doesn't mind using the top shelf himself. She realizes he noticed her behavior, while he insists there is no real reason.
The orange-haired girl looks on in silence as he turns away.
Running to catch up, she asks to do the assignment together. Dane justifies working together to solve problems, and Soo-hyun agrees to help her.
Walking outside, he asks why she was left behind by her friend.
They walk through the campus as the sun sets, discussing midterms.
The pair stands together outside the university. An announcement is made to wrap up the current meeting.
A crowd of students filters out into the hallway.
A red-haired girl and Dane discuss the intense roasting in the student council.
Kim Dane looks ahead with a thoughtful and quiet expression. A sudden, loud shout sounds as a man berates a student while others look on in the classroom.
Seo-hana and Kim Dane discuss early schedules before the red-haired girl questions if Dane and Cha Soo-hyun like each other.
The red-haired girl notes a strange distance between the pair, causing the orange-haired girl to wonder why they are the topic of conversation.
Clarifying her point, the red-haired girl recalls seeing Soo-hyun being quite helpful and polite toward another student.
She remembers how kindly he handed over notes to the girl, highlighting his helpful nature.
A sudden, sharp tap sounds as the red-haired girl adjusts her glasses and speculates that Daein might be toying with Soo-yen's feelings.
Finished with her theory, the red-haired student asks for the orange-haired girl's thoughts on the matter.
A sudden, quick pull sounds as Dane pushes her friend's hand away, claiming she has no interest in the pair's relationship.
The red-haired girl playfully insists that Daein is incredibly interested in Soo-hyun, despite her protests.
A sudden, rapid pitter-patter sounds as the red-haired girl walks away, leaving a shouting Daein behind in the hallway.
Back in the classroom, the orange-haired girl struggles with her work while sitting beside a focused Soo-hyun.
Glancing at her companion, Daein imagines him as a dazzling and divine figure, shining with an ethereal light. The orange-haired girl freezes in shock when Soo-hyun suddenly looks over at her.
The atmosphere becomes tense as the blue-haired man leans in close to inspect her progress.
As he focuses on her work, Daein recalls Hana's comments about the strange distance and dynamic between them.
She remembers a past moment when he had her pinned against a wall in a bold display of proximity.
A quiet realization dawns that the blue-haired man is not the type to shy away from physical contact.
She vividly recalls another moment of intense closeness that left her completely startled. In her mind, the orange-haired girl imagines Hana sitting on a throne, wondering if Daein is truly pulling the strings in the relationship. A sudden sharp crack sounds as she envisions Hana whipping a repentant Soo-hyun in a dramatic role reversal. The imagination continues with a tearful Soo-yen, leading her to wonder if he is the only one who is truly sincere. Back in reality, the blue-haired man looks at her calmly and asks if she understands his explanation. Snapping out of her daze, the orange-haired girl responds with a look of pure confusion. Soo-hyun offers to repeat himself just as the dark-haired student arrives to ask what they are doing.
A sudden, sharp creak sounds as the orange-haired girl turns her head in absolute terror at the interruption.
A sudden, quick tap sounds as the pair turns toward the student who has just joined them. The dark-haired student in the blue hoodie stands before them with a calm and neutral expression. Feeling cornered, the orange-haired girl worries about the awkward situation while the newcomer looms over them.
Dane stammers nervously, struggling to find a way to explain their session to the other girl.
A sudden, heavy slide sounds as the newcomer takes a seat while Soo-hyun explains they were simply doing homework.
Soo-hyun inquires about her assignment, and the girl shamelessly admits she expects their other friend to handle it.
The orange-haired girl stares in disbelief, shocked that Soo-hyun is letting the other students skip the work. Laughing off the tension, the long-haired girl apologizes for the interruption and promises to stay quiet.
Curious about the early hour, Dane asks why her friend has arrived at school so far ahead of schedule.
The student explains she came straight from a night shift at a convenience store because going home would have been too difficult. Discussing her schedule, the girl reveals she was covering a shift but might consider making night work a regular thing. The orange-haired girl is stunned as her friend lists a grueling number of part-time jobs she takes on in her free time. Dean asks which of the many jobs is the most manageable for a student to handle. Looking through the classroom window, the dark-haired girl recommends convenience store work as the best option. Considering her own long commute, the orange-haired girl ponders where she should look for employment. A sudden, long groan sounds as the tired girl stretches while Daein resolves to find a job soon. Soo-hyun remains silent, looking ahead with his characteristic calm and stoic expression.
A sudden, sharp clatter sounds as the professor arrives, and Soo-yeon wakes the sleeping student before class begins.
A sudden, long stretch sounds as the dark-haired girl yawns widely after her brief nap. A sudden, quick rustle sounds as the student realizes class is over, and Nam Bo-young reacts with surprise.
Excitement fills the air as Nam Bo-young shows everyone a new social media post regarding their upcoming membership training.
The group reviews the official notice for the spring semester MT as the orange-haired girl realizes it has just been posted.
Holding her friend's arm, Nam Bo-young asks if Diane is going, and the latter confirms she must attend for the student council.
The dark-haired girl is overjoyed, noting that the trip finally makes her feel like a genuine college student.
Soo-hyun dryly reminds her of her actual status while she laughs and insists it is all about the atmosphere.
Kim Dae looks toward her Kanangin.
Cha Soo-yeon doubts she'll enjoy Dritz.
A girl asks the group if they are attending the upcoming membership training.
Nam Bo-young checks her phone and notes she has work scheduled during the trek.
Cha Soo-yeon asks if she is staying behind as the others look on with disappointment.
Nam Bo-young explains she missed previous events and really wants to go despite her work commitments.
She hopes someone can cover her shift so she can join the trek.
Cha Soo-yeon looks on with curiosity.
A girl reminds Dane to submit her attendance form soon, and she agrees to do it now.
The orange-haired girl decides to submit now. Her phone confirms the form submission.
Kim Dae looks up in surprise.
A sudden, heavy slide sounds as Cha Soo-hyun announces he is attending because he has no other plans.
Cha Soo-yeon notes that staying behind is more exhausting and offers to handle the assignment submission.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as the man walks away while Dain stares in bewilderment.
Nam Bo-young asks Dain to sit next to her on the bus during the trip, and Dain agrees.
Colorful text appears on a phone.
Nam Bo-young smiles brightly while daydreaming.
The brown-haired man checks his time.
Nam Bo-young admires the man's new watch and asks if he bought it for her while Kim Dae watches.
Nam Bo-young happily confirms it was a gift while Kim Dae groans in frustration. Kim Dae stands with an angry expression.
A sudden, quick tap sounds as a man in glasses offers a bag of treats.
The man in glasses offers treats to everyone for their hard work as Nam Bo-young thanks him. The nerdy student offers a treat to his brother, but the muscular man coldly rejects it.
The man in glasses notes the brothers share the same phone model as Nam Bo-young.
Nam Bo-young excitedly calls it fate, but the muscular man dismissively says many people use that model.
Nam Bo-young looks down at her phone.
Kim Dae wonders why the man feels the need to embarrass people like that.
Nam Bo-young excitedly suggests they visit a famous dessert cafe located near the campus.
A phone displays colorful cafe treats.
Kim Dae notes the sweets look intense before Nam Bo-young asks if they should visit after dinner.
A sudden, quick zip sounds as Nam Bo-young explains she is dieting and brought her own salad.
The muscular man skeptically asks why she is dieting with a salad if she's still planning dessert.
The group sits in silence.
A sudden, sharp creak sounds as Kim Dae confronts the man for his rude comments toward her friend.
The man argues that truth is better than sparing feelings, while Dain rejects his reasoning.
The muscular man tells Nam Bo-young he only spoke up because he cares about her. Nam Bo-young quickly defends the man, claiming she knows he meant well, which leaves Dae-in frustrated.
Nam Bo-young tells her friend that she is fine and asks her not to be angry.
Kim Dae looks on in shock.
The muscular man smirks at victory.
A sudden, long groan sounds now.
A sudden, loud shout sounds as Dane tells her friend to eat with the man while she leaves.
Nam Bo-young stands alone and dejected.
Students sit separately in the classroom.
The official membership training day arrives.
Kim Dae watches the scenery pass.
She remembers her friend's past enthusiasm.
On the bus, Nam Bo-young sits alone while Kim Dae-in looks back with concern.
Nam Bo-young looks away with a dismissive huff, questioning why she should even care about the situation, while Kim Dae-in listens with a pensive expression.
A thought lingers that if a person can get along with someone so rude, then that person is likely not someone to associate with either.
The scene transitions to a bright, open campus area where a large red and black bus is parked, ready for the upcoming trip.
Inside the crowded bus, students are settled into their seats, with Cha Soo-yeon sitting quietly wearing his headphones, while others chat and check their phones.
The blue-haired man looks up from his phone with a start as a student council member announces that everyone should be on board since they are leaving soon.
A sudden quick tap sounds as a phone displays a chat log where Kang Diane expresses her frustration with her major, followed by a message asking if someone is on their way.
In a past memory, Nam Bo-young excitedly clenches her fists and declares she is definitely going on the trip once she finds a coworker to cover her shift.
A sudden, quick tap sounds as a message is typed on a phone, expressing absolute certainty that she will be attending the trip.
Cha Soo-hyun holds his phone to his ear with a serious expression, waiting for a response that doesn't seem to come.
A sudden, loud clatter sounds as Nam Bo-young bursts onto the bus, accidentally bumping into a fellow student while frantically apologizing for the commotion.
The student council member tells the flustered girl to hurry and take her seat, and Nam Bo-young thanks her with a relieved sigh while Soo-hyun watches the scene unfold. Taking the seat beside the blue-haired man, Nam Bo-young laughs off her lateness as Soo-hyun notes she barely made it before the bus left.
A sudden heavy sigh sounds as the dark-haired girl checks the time on her phone, noting it is nearly 9 in the morning.
A sudden heavy slide sounds as Nam Bo-young reaches out and deliberately powers off her mobile device.
Soo-yeon notices the action and asks why she is turning it off, to which she nervously laughs and claims the battery is dead, leaving him skeptical.
Radiant with excitement, Nam Bo-young gushes about all the fun activities, games, and food they will enjoy during the membership training trip.
The blue-haired man calmly agrees as the girl adds that she's looking forward to the fresh air and trying out some drinking games.
Looking at his companion, Soo-hyun suggests that she should take the window seat for a better view.
A sudden quiet snore sounds as Nam Bo-young quickly falls into a deep sleep, her head covered by the hood of her jacket. An announcement over the bus speakers tells everyone they are departing and to fasten their seatbelts while Soo-hyun looks at the sleeping girl beside him.
The blue-haired man reaches out his hand toward the slumbering Nam Bo-young with a gentle, focused expression.
Leaning in close, Soo-hyun carefully reaches across the sleeping girl to grab her seatbelt and ensure she is secure. A sudden, long pull followed by a sharp click sounds as the man clicks the seatbelt into place for his unconscious friend.
After securing her, the blue-haired man settles back and watches Nam Bo-young with a calm and silent gaze.
A sudden, quiet breath sounds as Nam Bo-young continues to sleep peacefully, completely unaware of her surroundings.
The scene fades into a soft blue tone as the bus travels towards its destination while the pair sits together in quiet companionship.
A sudden loud shout sounds as the group arrives at the resort, and a student council member instructs everyone to unpack in their rooms and gather on the first floor.
As they walk through the hallway, Seo Hana curiously asks if her friend has been in a fight with Nam Bo-young recently.
Kim Dane flatly denies any conflict, but the red-haired girl playfully insists that it is obvious something happened between them.
In her mind, the red-haired girl imagines a lonely and dejected Nam Bo-young sitting hunched over by herself on the bus during the journey.
Hannah suggests that it's no wonder Dane grew tired of her constant attention, but the orange-haired girl sharply tells her to watch her mouth.
Surprised by the stern reaction, the red-haired girl asks why she's being scolded just before she notices a pink-haired man working nearby.
A text box identifies the newcomer as Seo Jiho, a student council vice president and business administration major who is busy handling luggage.
Approaching the crouching man, the girls ask what he is doing there among all the boxes. Looking up with a calm expression, the pink-haired man cryptically responds that he is simply waiting for the right moment.
Turning their attention away, the girls notice more luggage nearby, just as another student council member approaches.
A sudden, rapid whoosh sounds as Jiho grabs the heavy bags and sprints away, telling the girls to hurry to the first floor while they watch in utter shock.
Catching up to the girl with glasses, the pink-haired man insists on helping her with the heavy box she's carrying, which she graciously accepts.
Dane and Hana exchange bewildered looks at the vice president's strange behavior while he dismisses his actions as a joke to the girl with glasses.
A sudden, sharp thud sounds as a muscular man walking past bumps roughly into Jiho's shoulder.
The man casually apologizes, claiming the space was too cramped to judge the distance, while Jiho mutters a curse and the girl with glasses asks if he's all right.
Watching the interaction, Hannah and Dane wonder why the man has been acting so strangely and if he actually followed them all the way to the trip. A sudden low murmur sounds as the girls enter a large common room where a crowd of students has gathered near the windows.
A crowd of impressed students surrounds a piano where Nam Bo-young is seated, performing a beautiful piece, while Soo-hyun watches from the side. With her eyes closed and a small smile, the dark-haired girl plays the piano with grace and skill, filling the room with music.
Standing in the doorway, Hana watches the performance and thinks to herself that she didn't know Kim Dane could play the piano so well. A sudden, loud piano note sounds as the girl's fingers dance across the keys, bringing the song to a powerful conclusion. The students shower the pianist with praise, calling her Da-in and complimenting her talent and personality while she humbly jokes about her poor grades. One student loudly declares that the debate over whether Cha Soo-yeon or Kang Dae-in is the better catch is now completely over.
Feeling frustrated by the conversation, Hana walks away while Dae-in watches the crowd with a look of extreme annoyance, thinking about how rude their public debate is.
As an announcement calls everyone to gather for a game, the curly-haired girl wonders if people find the situation annoying.
The students begin blowing up a sea of colorful balloons for the upcoming activities. The curly-haired girl and her peers proudly display their animal drawings as someone compares her to a real guinea pig. Laughter fills the room as the girl with orange hair chats happily with the council members. The scene shifts to an outdoor barbecue where the muscular man aggressively tends to a flaring grill. Students gather at long wooden tables to enjoy their dinner together.
Kim Dane eats with gusto while the blue-haired man tells her to slow down.
Watching the pair, the chubby girl warns that eating too fast will lead to a stomachache. A sudden, sharp gag sounds as the curly-haired girl A girl with a high bun excitedly waves green bottles around, declaring that drinking games are the highlight of any trip.
A loud rhythmic cheer sounds as everyone clinks their bottles together to start the games.
Hours later, several students are passed out across the floor amidst empty bottles and food scraps.
A sudden, sharp thud sounds as a hand slams a cup onto the floor. Looking ruddier and more aggressive, the drunk, muscular man begins shouting at Jang Ye-eun while others try to pacify him.
The man screams that he isn't drunk and blames the girl with glasses for choosing a boring location.
Leaning in, the drunk man tells Ye-eun that her silent judgment is infuriating him.
Turning his anger towards Seo Jiho, the drunk man mocks the vice president's face and threatens him with physical violence.
The senior loudly asks the first-year students if they agree that Ye-eun is incompetent at her job.
He singles out the student in the gray hoodie, demanding to know if the trip's destination was Ye-eun's idea alone. The flustered student tries to stutter an answer while the drunk man screams for a simple yes or no.
A sudden quick turn sounds as the man looks at Seo Hana and claims he was right about the senior being self-centered.
The drunk man continues his tirade against the council's choices while the younger students watch in horrified silence.
Jang Ye-eun places a hand on the purple-haired man's arm to keep him from retaliating.
A sudden sharp point sounds as the drunk man calls out for the curly-haired girl to back him up.
Surprised to be targeted, the girl with orange hair points at herself and asks if he is actually speaking to her. The man mocks her for spending the afternoon blowing up balloons and calls her efforts crappy.
The curly-haired girl begins to respond, her voice wavering with hesitation.
She remembers the physical toll of blowing up countless balloons for the group's enjoyment earlier that day.
Memories of the fun meals and camaraderie from earlier in the trip flash through her mind.
She recalls the bitter taste of the alcohol and the earlier teasing from her peers.
With sweat on her brow, the girl with orange hair looks up at the senior with newfound determination.
The muscular man's jaw drops as the curly-haired girl declares that she had fun and thinks Ye-eun is actually cool.
Outraged by the defiance, the senior asks if she's lost her mind or been threatened into lying.
A sudden, loud shout sounds as the curly-haired girl tells the man he is too drunk to think straight.
The senior lunges forward with a snarl, his hand reaching out as the girl flinches in terror.
A sudden, sharp crack sounds as someone screams in agony during the scuffle.
The chubby girl cries out for Die-in as students gasp at the chaotic scene.
Kim Dane protectively pulls the curly-haired girl into a tight embrace on the floor.
Hidden beneath her friend's jacket, the girl's heart races as she wonders why everything has gone dark.
The curly-haired girl realizes someone is shielding her and wonders who her protector is.
A sudden, quiet slide sounds as Kim Dane slowly releases her grip and looks down at her front.
The girl with orange hair asks if Dane is all right, and the dark-haired girl gives a small, reassuring nod.
A sudden, low tremor sounds as Dane asks if her friend is hurt, despite her own hands shaking violently.
The drunk man's furious shouting continues in the background as the two girls watch the confrontation.
Cha Soo-yeon pins the aggressive senior, firmly twisting his arm behind his back to restrain him.
The blue-haired man tells the senior to take his drama elsewhere while the other students brand him as pathetic. Kim Dane and her friends confront the man, calling him a condescending jerk for abusing his seniority. The girls tell the man that respect must be earned and that he is only poisoning the atmosphere.
A sudden, loud roar sounds as the drunk man rages against them while they stand their ground.
With the situation finally contained, Jang Ye-eun rubs her temple in exhaustion while the purple-haired man watches her. The group stands together in heavy silence. The girl with glasses suggests that the orange-haired girl should go outside for some fresh air to recover from the frightening ordeal. Despite concerns about the messy state of the room, Jang Ye-eun reassures the group that they do not need to worry about the cleanup right now.
Noticing how shaken Kim Dane appears, the girl with glasses asks the blue-haired man to escort her and the others outside.
The blue-haired man currently agrees while the aggressive senior continues his loud and angry tirade in the background.
Tension lingers as the group retreats. Pausing near the doorway, the blue-haired man turns back toward the dejected girl with the bow still kneeling on the floor.
When the blue-haired man asks if she intends to stay behind, the girl with the bow quickly stammers that she will join them.
Walking along the outdoor path at night, the girl with glasses sincerely thanks Kim Dane for her help earlier that evening.
The two girls exchange a meaningful look. A starry night brings quiet reflection.
A sudden, awe-filled shout sounds as the group marvels at the beautiful moonlight reflecting off the river.
Gazing in wonder at the scenic view, the orange-haired girl admits she didn't realize such a beautiful place was nearby.
Kim Dane happily explains that the view is indeed pretty and reveals she discovered the location earlier that day. When the blue-haired man questions when she found time to explore, the dark-haired girl explains her habit of scouting any new area she visits.
A sudden, heavy thud sounds as the group settles onto a wooden bench while the dark-haired girl stretches her arms over her head.
The group sits in awkward silence. Feeling the weight of the uncomfortable mood, the orange-haired girl worries that she is being perceived as the villain in this situation. A long, tired sigh sounds as the orange-haired girl asks her friend if she is eventually going to sit down. Emotional tears fill the girl's eyes.
A sudden, frantic rush sounds as the girl with the bow dives into the seat, nearly crushing her friends, while the dark-haired girl is interrupted mid-sentence.
Sobbing and hiccuping, the girl with the bow tearfully apologizes to Kim Dane for not standing by her side earlier. She recalls a painful memory of a man mocking her for wanting dessert while she was struggling through a diet.
The orange-haired girl tells her friend she should have spoken up against the senior's mean words, but the weeping girl stammers that the man isn't usually so cruel.
Internally frustrated by her friend's lack of understanding, the orange-haired girl tells her to do as she pleases, leading the girl with the bow to beg for forgiveness.
The orange-haired girl is completely baffled, questioning why her friend is even bringing up forgiveness for this situation.
The girl with the bow reminisces about all the simple fun she had hoped to share with Kim Dane throughout the day, feeling deep guilt for her perceived mistakes.
A sudden, playful laugh sounds as Kim Dane remarks that she actually thought the girl with the bow was having a great time hanging out with them all day.
The dark-haired girl teasingly asks if their worth to her was really that small, while the blue-haired man watches the interaction in silence.
Panicked and waving her hands, the girl with the bow desperately denies the teasing and insists her friend's worth is far greater.
Kim Dayan reassures Nam Boyoung that her student council duties were the only reason they couldn't spend more time together, not any mistake on the girl's part.
Hopeful, the girl with the bow asks for confirmation, receiving a reassuring yet slightly uncertain response from her friend. After receiving a promise to sit together on the bus ride home, Nam Boyoung's sudden excitement leaves the blue-haired man feeling completely bewildered.
A sudden, happy giggle sounds from Nam Boyoung as the dark-haired girl looks on with a confused expression.
A sudden, impressed shout sounds as the group looks up at the vast sky filled with countless twinkling stars. Exhilarated by the moonlight on the river, the dark-haired girl sprints toward the water's edge, declaring her need to take a picture of the healing scene.
When the blue-haired man asks if her phone is finally charged, the dark-haired girl quickly stammers that she has already taken care of it. Searching through her jacket pockets, the dark-haired girl notes that they would surely regret not capturing a photo on such a beautiful night.
A sudden, rapid whir sounds as the dark-haired girl spins around excitedly, taking numerous photos of the sparkling river while her friend watched her.
Turning around with a bright smile, the dark-haired girl answers as the orange-haired girl tries to get her attention.
Hannah watches her friend with complexity.
The orange-haired girl dismisses her previous thought as nothing, prompting Kim Dae-in to mention how much her friend had been trembling during the earlier confrontation. A sudden, sheepish laugh sounds as the dark-haired girl admits her body reacted instinctively because she was scared, but she's just glad no one was hurt. The orange-haired girl sincerely thanks her friend for her bravery, earning another cheerful and lighthearted giggle in return.
A sudden, quiet sneeze sounds as the girl on the bench explains that her footwear makes it difficult for her to walk on the sandy riverbank. A sudden, quiet sniffle sounds as the girl with the bow laments that she wasn't prepared for the cold weather with her current outfit.
A sudden, soft slide sounds as the blue-haired man begins to unzip his heavy jacket.
Startled, the girl with the bow looks up in surprise as the blue-haired man curtly tells her to wear his jacket.
A sudden, rapid whish sounds as the girl frantically refuses, fearing she will stretch out his clothes, but the man calmly insists that she take it immediately.
Another sudden, loud sneeze sounds as the girl with the bow continues to hesitate despite the biting cold and his persistent offer.
Cha Soo-yeon places his jacket over Nam Boyoung's shoulders with a sudden, soft patting sound. Stunned, the girl stares in silence. The blue-haired man suggests she drape the jacket over her shoulders to avoid stretching the fabric.
The girl remains speechless with shock.
Internally, the girl with the bow marvels at Kim Dane's handsome and kind partner.
A sudden, soft creak sounds as he joins her on the bench.
Giggling happily, the girl with the bow thanks him and appreciates the warmth.
Energetic and joyful, Kim Dane shouts about the beauty of the scenery.
The dark-haired girl expresses her excitement for upcoming seasonal activities like playing in the river.
Hannah's mention of midterm exams causes the group's lighthearted mood to shift.
A sudden, persistent vibration sounds as a phone buzzes in a pocket.
A sudden, sharp buzz sounds as the blue-haired man questions her about a missed call notification. The scene shifts to daytime where a firm demand is made for the senior to apologize. Standing with her friends, Hannah confronts the senior about his refusal to offer an apology. Dismissing the need for an apology, Hannah expresses her doubt about its sincerity.
Looking intensely annoyed, the senior mutters a reluctant and insincere apology.
The girl with glasses bluntly states she didn't hear his weak attempt at an apology.
A sudden, angry shout sounds as the senior's internal rage boils over.
The senior angrily questions if they are satisfied now, while Jae-hyuk tells the girls to step back. A sudden, loud snap sounds as the girl with glasses points out he was the one who suggested apologizing first.
A sudden, heavy stomp sounds as the senior storms away in frustration.
Hannah reflects on how the department is failing because of people like him.
A hazy memory depicts a woman being told to let things go after a man's promise to change.
A long, weary sigh sounds as Hannah reflects on the loss of peace before departing.
Hannah walks away while her friends watch.
A sudden rapid pitter-patter sounds as the girl with the bow rushes to check on Hana.
Hannah tells her friends to go home first and not to worry.
Looking worriedly at the senior, the girl with the bow fears he might follow Hana.
Hannah offers a bright, cheerful life. The friends rest together and feast.
A sudden, sharp realization strikes Hana. She wonders if Cha Soo-yeon lives in her neighborhood.
A sudden, steady rhythm of footsteps sounds as Hannah notices the man walking behind her.
Pausing at a crossing, Hannah doubts her suspicions.
She recalls their previous commute home.
A memory shows Hana observing him get off at a different station.
A sudden, bright spark of intuition sounds as Hannah realizes he is escorting her home.
Walking together, she wonders about his true intentions. Turning abruptly, Hana confronts the man. A sudden, frantic wave sounds as she questions why he is following her so far.
Hannah explains that his actions could lead to misunderstandings despite his likely protective intentions.
They face off in awkward silence.
A sudden surprise call sounds as two women approach and recognize them.
Hannah stares at them in shock.
A sudden, rapid whish sounds as Hana looks between the man and the newcomers.
A sudden, sharp thud sounds as the man clamps his hand over Hannah's mouth.
The girl with glasses asks what he thinks he's doing.
Calmly, the man claims he was just catching a bug on her face while she struggles. Leaning in close, the man whispers that he just saved her life.
Fuming with rage, Hana mentally protests his ridiculous claim.
Pointing accusingly at the man, Hannah is interrupted as the woman with short brown hair and glasses remarks that he certainly has some nerve.
A sudden rapid whish sounds as the black-haired woman with a high ponytail pulls a black bag away from the blue-haired man, while Hannah looks on with intense annoyance.
Gazing at the black-haired woman with the ponytail, Hana internally wonders if she is the older sister of Cha Soo-hyun that Jang So-jian had mentioned.
The black-haired woman stands in Hothal.
Hannah continues to observe the group.
A sudden soft giggle sounds as the woman with short brown hair and glasses offers a warm, knowing smile.
Hana offers a polite bow as the woman with short brown hair and glasses introduces herself as Kim Dae-in, a classmate of Cha Soo-yeon, and asks if she is the girlfriend he mentioned earlier.
A sudden frantic rustle sounds as Hannah desperately denies being his girlfriend, while the blue-haired man calmly states that she is someone else. Kim Dae-in laughs while explaining that Cha Soo-hyun has many girls in his life, including 4 biological sisters, which leaves Hana completely stunned.
Hannah is absolutely floored, shouting in disbelief at the mention of him having 4 sisters.
Turning to leave, the blue-haired man tells Kim Dae-in that he is heading out. Looking bewildered, Hannah asks where he is going.
Over a view of modern high-rise apartments, he explains that he is visiting his grandparents' house today.
Hannah is overcome with embarrassment as she realizes she lectured him on causing misunderstandings for no reason. The blue-haired man dryly remarks that she should have said those things sooner while Hana trembles with rage.
Cha Soo-yeon looks on coldly.
Kim Dae-in teases the man about whether Hana is truly not his girlfriend and comments on how close he seems with his older sister. Hannah watches as they depart.
Hannah notes that the older sister with the ponytail doesn't seem close to him at all, finding the contrast with the other woman quite jarring.
A sudden, loud click sounds as Hannah opens the front door and announces that she is home.
Hannah's face falls as she spots a pair of black boots in the entryway, realizing with dread that someone unwelcome has arrived.
Hannah clenches her teeth angrily.
Sitting at the kitchen table, a man in a green shirt casually greets her.
The man, Kim Da-jung, smiles mockingly as he explains that he is currently on leave from the military. Hannah glares at him hatefully. Her mother stands by as Da-jung cruelly teases Hana about gaining weight while he was away.
Hannah reflects on how the day's events seem to be a curse that keeps bringing her back to thoughts of her brother, Kim Da-jung.
A quiet residential neighborhood street.
A sudden hoppy whistle sounds as the dark-haired girl skips down the street, celebrating a refreshing and fun outing. A sudden sharp creak sounds as she opens the wooden gate to her home.
Checking her phone, the girl notes that while some things are resolved, there is still one thing she needs to deal with. She walks toward the entrance.
A sudden heavy thud sounds as she grabs the door handle, wondering what the message she received actually said. The girl's eyes widen in sheer horror at what she discovers inside.
A sudden sharp crack sounds as she finds her tablet screen shattered with a pair of scissors stabbed directly through it. A sudden frantic gasp sounds as the girl collapses to the floor, paralyzed by fear at the sight before her.
A giant shadow loomed on the wall.
Hannah frantically searches her messy desk.
Looking at her empty desk, Hannah is certain she left her tablet right where she's looking. A sharp realization strikes Hannah.
A sudden loud bang sounds as Hannah kicks her door open and rushes out into the hallway. The family in the kitchen.
Hannah is fuming with rage.
Lying comfortably on a bed, Kim Da-jung casually asks what while playing on his phone.
Standing in the doorway, Hannah angrily demands that he give her back her tablet.
Da-jung laughs mockingly while questioning whose tablet it really is.
Hana desperately explains that she needs it for class, but Dajong taunts her to come in and take it herself.
Hannah's eyes narrow in frustration.
Looking at the disaster of her room, Hannah notes that it's a talent to make a place look like this in a single day.
Flailing her arms in anger, Hannah shouts that he isn't even using the tablet and demands it back so she can go to school.
Dajong smugly insists he's using the tablet and tells Hana to wake up earlier next time. A sudden, loud bang sounds as Hana kicks the door in frustration while Dajong laughs at her from inside the room.
Emerging from the hallway, their mother angrily demands to know why they are screaming so early in the morning.
A sudden, sharp thud sounds as the mother hits Hannah on the head for calling her older brother by his name.
Rubbing her head, Hannah desperately explains that she needs the tablet to access her lecture materials for class.
The mother offers a long, weary sigh. Smiling warmly, the mother asks Dajong if he really needs the device since Hana has school to attend.
Putting on a pitiful face, Dajong complains that he cannot watch videos while he is stationed at his military barracks.
The mother immediately sides with her son, praising his hard work while Hana watches in utter disbelief.
Dismissing Hana's needs, the mother tells her to simply bear with the situation until Dajong leaves tomorrow.
The mother questions how students ever survived without tablets and suggests that Hannah simply print out her materials.
A sudden, soft click sounds as the mother closes the door to provide Dajong peace despite Hana's frantic protests.
Dajong offers a mocking, smug smirk. Pushing Hannah toward the exit, the mother tells her to stop being difficult and head to school already.
A sudden, soft clatter sounds as a blue bank card is tossed onto the entryway floor.
Hannah gazes down in stunned silence.
A blue bank card lies on the floor. Their mother shouts from behind the door, complaining about the cost of things and Hannah's stubborn personality.
Hannah stares at the closed door. A sudden, soft whish sounds as Hannah reaches down to retrieve the discarded bank card.
She pauses momentarily before picking it up.
Hannah looks at the card somberly.
Transition to a memory of cooking.
A sudden, rapid pitter-patter sounds as Hannah sprints across the wide university campus under the bright sun.
Running breathlessly, Hannah worries about whether she will have enough time to print her lecture notes before class starts.
A sudden, loud bang sounds as Hannah bursts into the empty print room, relieved to find no line at the computers. A sudden, rapid clicking sounds as Hannah frantically operates the computer at the printing station to get her work done.
She breathes a sigh of relief, thinking she might make it to her classroom on time after all.
A sudden, soft rustle sounds as Hana pulls her wallet out to pay for the printing services.
She stares at the blue card. Hannah recalls her mother's weary sigh while looking over piles of expensive household bills at the kitchen table.
A sudden, soft slide sounds as Hannah places the bank card back into her wallet. Deciding to be more considerate, Hannah prepares to use her own card for the printing costs instead. As she works, a dark-haired woman stands silently behind her and observes the computer screen.
The dark-haired woman looks absolutely horrified. Hannah looks back, wondering why the woman is acting so strangely behind her. A memory depicts the dark-haired woman appearing flustered and disorganized many times in the past. The woman stands frozen with a deranged expression as a faint spirit escapes her mouth.
The monitor displays a massive document.
A sudden, frantic shout sounds as the dark-haired woman tells Hana to wait before she clicks the print button.
The woman startles Hannah by pointing out that she is about to print 60 individual sheets of paper. Overwhelmed by the inefficient settings, the dark-haired woman reacts with dramatic and wide-eyed shock. Stepping forward, the dark-haired woman tells Hana to move aside so she can fix the printing settings correctly. A sudden, soft click sounds as the woman takes control of the computer with a focused expression.
She asks Hannah if she would prefer to print 4 or 6 pages per single sheet of paper.
Flustered by the sudden help, Hannah tells her to just do whatever she thinks is best. The dark-haired woman explains that she is simply repaying the favor Hannah did for her during the MT. Internally, the dark-haired woman imagines herself as a heroic figure, gracefully performing a noble deed for her classmate. Laughing awkwardly, the dark-haired woman accepts the thanks while still looking a bit dazed from the situation. Hannah watches her classmate with surprise.
Entering the room, Hannah and her classmate look around for seats.
Pointing across the crowded lecture hall, the long-haired woman mentions she is heading in that direction. The long-haired woman offers a slightly flustered and hurried agreement. Hannah watches with a curious expression.
Observing her classmate approach Cha Soo-yeon, Hana internally wonders if the two of them had a recent argument.
A girl waves goodbye as the bourse class. Greeting Kim Dayan. Hannah admits she isn't sure of the situation since they seemed fine yesterday.
A sudden, sharp scrape sounds as the chair is pulled back beside Cha Soo-yeon, who sits with his headphones on.
Noticing her arrival, Cha Soo-yeon calmly asks if she has arrived. Sitting down, the long-haired woman begins rummaging through her bag while Cha Soo-yeon watches her curiously. A sudden, soft rustle sounds as she nervously pulls out a stack of paper documents.
Noticing her materials, Cha Soo-yeon asks if she forgot to bring her tablet today.
Cha Soo-yeon asks if something is wrong as the long-haired woman looks visibly distressed.
She reflects on how he gave her a thoughtful gift that she failed to take proper care of. Staring at the shattered screen in her mind, she worries if he will be angry when she admits it is broken.
The woman begins a hesitant confession. Looking down in shame, she explains she dropped it and shattered the screen, offering a sincere apology, even if he ends up hating her.
She steals a nervous glance of him.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as Cha Soo-yeon clarifies if it is truly broken.
Credits for the production team appear.
A promotional graphic features Cha Soo-yeon. Cha Soo-yeon gazes forward with a neutral expression.
The long-haired woman looks away, clearly feeling guilty. She internally frets about disappointing him after his kindness.
Noticing her distress, Cha Soo-yeon asks if she would like him to try fixing the broken device for her.
Cha Soo-yeon tells her to bring it next time, but she insists it is completely broken beyond any hope of repair.
She frantically gestures while explaining that she accidentally dropped it very hard. She offers yet another heartfelt apology.
Cha Soo-yeon asks why she is apologizing, but she insists it's because he gave her such an expensive gift that she treated carelessly. He dismisses her concerns, explaining it was just a spare device and that a gift belongs entirely to the recipient once given. A sudden soft tap sounds as he adjusts her sleeve, suggesting the item might not have suited her despite his intentions.
He tells her that one does not need specific qualifications just to own an object.
The woman stares at him in shock. Cha Soo-yeon calmly tells her that things naturally break with use and urges her not to worry too much about it. She gazes at him, looking deeply moved. A somber illustration depicts her melancholy state.
Hannah looks intensely frustrated at her tablet. Holding her tablet, Hannah asks her group members where they think the research materials provided by Senior Chang Han-mol actually came from.
The male student suggests they might be from Nemo Wiki while Hannah glares at the screen with growing resentment. A sudden, loud bang sounds as Hannah slams her fist onto the wooden table in a fit of rage. Chasing after the hooded senior, Hannah tells him to use the academic sources she uploaded instead of unreliable wikis.
Hannah shouts that he must include proper source citations while he dismisses her with a wave and a vague mumble.
A sudden, rapid thudding sounds as Hannah repeatedly slams the table, fuming because the senior refuses to listen to anyone. A sudden, fierce roar sounds as Hannah erupts in flames of anger, questioning if the senior thinks she's too stupid to recognize a wiki page.
Kim Dae-in offers a weak excuse about being busy while Hannah continues to seethe with a dark expression.
Taking a serious tone, Hannah suggests that they need to speak with the professor about the situation. Hannah firmly states they should tell the professor they want the senior removed from their project group. She argues that the three of them have been doing all the work anyway, regardless of whether the senior is involved or not.
Looking worried, Kim Dae-in points out that the professor explicitly stated that group members cannot be changed.
Hannah shouts that they should try anyway because the current situation is causing them too much suffering.
Hannah looks expectantly at the male student with glasses.
A sudden soft throb and a quick hiccup sounding, the male student stammers about the difficult senior.
Hannah contemplates how to handle the project situation. He warns her that the professor never listens to team complaints. Hannah offers a pleading, wide-eyed gaze. He mentions a rumor that the professor fails entire teams. Shocked by the grade, Hannah considers a failing grade's benefits. Chibi Hana explains the university's retake and grading policies. She imagines the professor as a cackling evil villain. Frustrated, Hannah rages against the senior's lazy and unhelpful behavior. Kim Dae-in urges her to endure for their final grades. Hannah argues that their small group has an unfair workload.
Kim Dae-in optimistically vows to cover the senior's missed work.
Hannah remains skeptical that the senior will ever listen.
A sudden, rapid clicking sounds as the male student works.
He's startled when Hannah suggests ending the mirror.
The group prepares to leave the crowded cafe.
Kim Dae-in mentions she has other plans for the evening.
They gather their things to conclude their study session. A sudden, soft rustle sounds as the student packs up. His desktop folder tracks their group's detailed project participation. Hannah encounters Cha Soo-yeon walking across the university campus. They discuss her early finish and his whereabouts today. He suggests she should have used the time for studying. Cha Soo-yeon turns back with a cool, stoic expression. A brightly lit hallway stands silent. They find a table to study in the library. Hannah notices he is already preparing for proficiency exams.
She admires his early and serious focus on job preparation.
A sudden soft scratching sounds as Hannah struggles with work. A sudden realization strikes Hannah as she looks around. She stands on a stool to reach the high shelf. A sudden soft wish sounds as he turns toward her. Cha Soo-yeon watches her with a calm, neutral gaze. He offers his help with placing the book back.
Hannah looks up at him with a startled expression.
A massive pile of gifted snacks and drinks sparkles. Cha Soo-yeon thanks someone while setting down a heavy book. Hannah whispers in total awe of the gifts he received. He tells her she can take as many as she likes. Hannah wonders if his stoic face hides a bad mood. Two students walk through campus at sunset.
She realizes the constant attention might be exhausting for him.
They resume their quiet and focused individual study sessions.
Night falls over the quiet campus buildings. They walk together through the empty hallway at night. Hannah suggests finding a less crowded study spot next time. He explains that her presence prevents other people from approaching. Cha Soo-yeon looks at her with a soft, steady gaze. Hannah realizes he actually enjoys her being around him.
Hannah looks visibly uncomfortable and stiff.
A sudden soft rustle sounds as Cha Soo-hyun stops Hana by her hood.
Hannah asks what he is doing as he holds her back.
Cha Soo-yeon asks the other student for his identity. He stares forward with cold intensity.
Hannah asks what is happening while still held.
The male student with glasses looks nervous.
Hannah explains that the boy is a member of her project team. Hannah suggests the student is only at the library to study.
Cha Soo-yeon remains deeply skeptical of the boy's actual intentions.
The student hides behind a pillar.
Cha Soo-yeon notes the boy is simply lingering near Kim Dae-in. He lurks secretly behind the bookshelf.
The student stammers with a great deal of hesitation.
A sudden soft slide sounds as he offers the drink with trembling hands.
He presents the energy drink to her as a gift.
Kim Dae-in looks surprised and politely declines the offer.
The group watches the awkward social rejection from afar. Kim Dae-in graciously accepts the gift despite her initial hesitation.
The student celebrates his small victory with a wide smile. Cha Soo-yeon suggests they leave since the situation is resolved.
A sudden, heavy roar sounds as a massive rain shower begins.
Cha Soo-yeon suggests waiting in the lounge until the rain stops.
A sudden, soft thud sounds as the student watches them walk away.
Hannah gazes up at him silently.
Cha Soo-yeon walks away with stoic grace.
The student reflects on how the other boy looks much cooler.
A sudden, rapid thudding sounds as he runs back toward the group. A sign marks the student council.
The student council members complain about the difficulty of their early duties.
Hannah explains she has nothing better to do than study.
They discuss their different ways of relaxing during study breaks. The red-haired member notes that they should enjoy their freshman year more.
The group invites Hannah on a blind date for the upcoming Friday.
Hannah ponders if she should actually try going on a date.
They argue about whether library study sessions can lead to romance.
The members bicker playfully over their different dating preferences.
The red-haired member asks if Hana has reconciled with Nam Bo-young.
She notes that the two of them seem to be inseparable lately.
Hannah explains they simply share almost all of the same classes.
They recall a past moment of shared emotional bonding.
Hannah reflects on how the relationship did not start off smoothly. She wonders if their friendship will change in the next semester.
The member teases Hana for being as clingy as an insect.
Hannah asks if the member is actually making fun of her.
The whole room erupts in laughter at Hannah's expense.
Hannah demands that the group stops laughing at her.
A sudden, sharp bang sounds as the door is thrown open.
An angry student demands that they use the room more quietly. A sudden, loud bang sounds as he scolds them for disturbing the classes. An infographic clarifies the long distance between the student council and the classrooms while the chibi group nods.
The senior in the gray track jacket aggressively berates Hana, mocking her size and calling her annoying.
Raising his hand menacingly, the senior warns her to stop acting up.
Hannah looks at him with quiet defiance, noting he would find a reason to criticize her regardless of her behavior.
Standing up abruptly and slamming her hand on the table, Hana demands to know exactly when she ever acted out.
Hannah points an accusing finger, shouting that the senior is the loudest person in the room as the male student panics.
The senior stalks toward Hana with a look of pure rage.
A sudden, sharp tap sounds as the senior grabs her collar, demanding she repeat herself.
Kim Dae-in intervenes with a bright smile, clutching the senior's arm to diffuse his anger.
She playfully begs the senior to be more lenient while privately seething at the constant spit flying from his yelling. The senior grumbles with a flushed, irritated expression as he considers the plea.
A sudden, loud bang sounds as the senior kicks the door open, warning Hana she is lucky today because of her friend.
A sudden, soft creak sounds as the door swings shut, leaving the three students in stunned silence.
The male student enthusiastically applauds Hannah's boldness while Kim Dae-in looks utterly drained by the confrontation.
He advises Hana to ignore the senior in the future since his bad reputation is well known throughout the council.
Hana slumps into her chair with an exhausted sigh as the group finally relaxes. They discuss the recent retreat, marveling that Hannah made it home safely alongside Cha Soo-hyun.
Hannah explains that Cha Soo-hyun was visiting his grandmother and mentions she met his sister.
A vision of Cha Soo-hyun and his similar-looking sister appears as Hana recalls calling her a female version of him.
The male student reacts with pure horror, asking if she actually said that to the sister's face. He warns her that making such a comment would have led to her immediate demise.
Narration explains that Cha Soo-hyun and his sister attended the same school during their younger years.
A grim memory shows the sister, Cha Soo-min, brutally attacking a student for making that exact comparison.
The male student shudders with intense fear just thinking about the sister's terrifying reputation.
Hannah looks deeply pensive as she processes this new information.
She imagines Cha Soo-hyun shielding her from danger with a protective, quiet gesture.
The group observes that Cha Soo-hyun has been spending much more time with Hana lately.
They note that while Kim Dae-in usually disappears after class, the other two are always together.
Hannah wonders if Kim Dae-in's frequent absences are due to an overwhelming part-time job schedule.
The student points out that Kim Dae-in looked exceptionally pale and sickly during their meeting today.
Hannah gazes at the table, her worry for her friend clearly growing.
A series of somber images depicts Kim Dae-in looking increasingly ghostly and fatigued.
Hannah fears that her friend might eventually collapse from exhaustion and total isolation.
The scene shifts to a brightly lit hallway outside a classroom. Cha Soo-yeon patiently tutors a visibly stressed and confused Kim Dae-in in a quiet room.
He looks at her with a calm expression, asking if the explanation finally makes sense.
Kim Dae-in stares at her notes with swirling, dizzy eyes, completely unable to grasp the material.
A comical note reveals that he has explained the same simple problem 7 times without any success. Kim Dae-in feels terrible, assuming Cha Soo-yeon must be incredibly frustrated with her slow progress.
Cha Soo-yeon stands up and points out how pale she looks, interrupting their session to check on her.
Walking together, he tells her that her busy work schedule is clearly taking a toll on her health.
Kim Dae-in mentions the dating rumors and jokingly suggests they should hold hands to give the onlookers what they want.
He questions the need for public displays while she laughs, saying relationships are usually impossible to hide.
A sudden, soft rustle sounds as he admits his ignorance, while Kim Dae-in begins to stumble behind him.
Cha Soo-yeon turns back in surprise as she reaches out for support.
His eyes widen in sudden alarm as he realizes she is losing consciousness.
Kim Dae-in falls heavily to the floor as a panicked voice cries out her name.
Nearby students gasp and scream in shock at the sudden medical emergency.
Cha Soo-yeon catches her just before she hits the ground, desperately asking if she is okay.
A sudden, sharp snap sounds as he lifts her into a bridal carry, rushing to get her medical help.
Title art features the 2 lead students. Kim Dae-in wakes up feeling mahast.
A sudden, loud slide sounds as Cha Soo-yeon pulls the curtain back, making her bolt upright in a panic over the time.
He explains that she collapsed at school and they are currently in the emergency room. Kim Dae-in is surprised that she feels so well rested despite having fainted. A doctor examines the patient's eyes as the boy watches with concern.
Cha Soo-yeon conveys the doctor's diagnosis of extreme fatigue and the doctor's diagnosis of extreme fatigue and notes she can leave once the IV is finished.
Panicking over her schedule, Kim Dae-in frantically asks for the current time while the boy checks his watch.
Hearing it is 7 o'clock, she desperately tries to leave for her job as he firmly grabs her arm to stop her.
A sudden, soft thud sounds as he leans over her, ordering her to stay and rest for the day.
He gently but firmly forces the protesting girl back down onto the hospital bed. Walking home later that night, Kim Dae-in tells him he didn't need to pay her bills or carry her things.
A sudden, bright spark sounds as she tearfully calls him an angel for staying by her side.
She privately reflects on how rare it is to find someone so genuinely helpful.
A sudden, rapid thudding sounds as she excitedly asks if he actually carried her while running to the hospital.
She wonders if their public appearance together will stop the rumors about them dating.
He tells her that he would rather deal with rumors than see her collapse in the street again.
They walk together in the quiet night toward her apartment.
A dark memory shows an angry man screaming at a child for being a disgrace.
Kim Dae-in points toward her building and asks for her belongings back.
A sudden soft whoosh sounds as she gives him a bright smile while thanking him for the walk. She stops in surprise when she realizes he is still following her into the building.
A sudden frantic thudding sounds as she blocks the hallway, desperately telling him not to go any further.
She nervously suggests they go a different way while he watches her with silent confusion.
A sudden metallic click sounds as they stand before her door in the dimly lit hallway.
A sudden, long creak sounds as the door opens to reveal her dark and sparse living space.
Cha Soo-yeon wonders if her hesitation was caused by embarrassment over the small size of her room.
A sudden sharp click sounds as a hand flips the light switch. He stares at the interior with a look of quiet realization.
The light reveals a bare room with newspaper taped over the walls and only a single mattress on the floor. He observes the dilapidated room, noting that the apartment looks quite dangerous to live in. Kim Dae-in hurries into the room, asking if he would like something to drink.
He stands by the door with the bags while noticing a broken device on the desk.
A hazy flashback depicts her crying while lamenting how she accidentally shattered her tablet screen.
He inspects the shattered screen, doubting her claim that it broke simply from being dropped.
Kim Dae-in searches the empty fridge, feeling embarrassed that she has nothing to offer her guest.
A sudden soft rustle sounds as he stops her, handing over the bags of food he bought.
He tells her to make sure she eats all the porridge and fruit he provided.
He extends another shopping bag toward the confused girl.
Kim Dae-in peers into the bag with a bewildered expression.
A brand new tablet box sits inside the shopping bag.
She tries to refuse the expensive gift, but he suggests she can pay him back in small installments if it makes her feel better.
He proposes a tiny monthly payment over 3 years, leaving her stunned by the length of the commitment.
He looks at her softly, noting that they will likely be seeing each other for at least that long anyway.
He rubs his chin thoughtfully while she stares at him in silence.
She recalls their conversation about faking a relationship for the onlookers. A memory shows her laughing while wondering if people really think they are dating.
He looks down, explaining that his actions are intended to address the doubts people have about their relationship.
Kim Dae-in gazes at him with watering, emotional eyes.
She wipes away tears of joy, overwhelmed by his silent and protective kindness.
Jaehoon comforts a crying Kim Dae-in, who wonders if he could actually be an angel.
A quiet morning descends upon university. Students excitedly discuss Cha Soo-hyun carrying Kim Dae-in, while Hana and Bo-young overhear the gossip.
Bo-young imagines Cha Soo-hyun as a prince carrying his princess while gushing over Kim Dae-in's muck.
Hannah looks skeptical, unsure if a real romantic relationship is actually developing between the two.
A memory shows Kim Dae-in surrounded by friends, noting everyone has liked her since orientation. Hannah recalls the angry senior and thinks life is simply easier for those who are pretty.
Walking through the hall, Hannah declares she needs to lose weight while Bo-young nods along. A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as the two girls find themselves face to face with a nervous-looking Jaehoon.
Hannah's eyes bulge in pure shock as she takes in his unusual appearance.
She remains frozen in disbelief, unable to believe what she is seeing.
A sudden, loud crackle sounds as Jihoon stands awkwardly in a leather jacket, blushing under his glasses.
Onlookers gossip about recognizing Kim Dae-in from the freshman group chat as they pass by. Hannah questions why Jihoon is even in the business building looking the way he does.
She stares at him with an incredulous expression, demanding to know the reason for his visit.
Jaehoon rubs the back of his neck, wondering if his new style was perhaps a bit too much.
Bo-young playfully teases that Jihoon clearly came specifically to see Hana.
Hannah dismisses the idea, pointing out they don't even have group work to that.
A red-haired student joins the conversation, commenting on how cute Hannah is.
Bo-young observes that interesting people always seem to gather around Hana.
A sudden, sharp spark sounds as the red-haired girl mocks Hana for being in the business building.
She continues her teasing, calling Jihoon Hannah's almost boyfriend and making them both blush.
A sudden, furious growl sounds as Hannah fumes at the unwanted and embarrassing comment.
Grabbing his arm, Hana marches Jihoon away while Bo-young watches from behind. Jihoon follows her with somber eyes. Jaehoon adjusts glasses in midair.
Jihoon dejectedly reflects on his attempt at a new look, feeling it was a failure.
Hannah watches him with a look of utter confusion, wondering what is on his mind. Jaehoon thinks of Cha Soo-hyun's effortless charm and wishes he could match that level of style. Bo-young leans in to ask Hana if this situation isn't a sign of romantic interest.
A sudden soft whisper sounds as Bo-young tells her it's a clear green light. A sudden loud yell sounds as Hana screams in absolute denial and shock.
She recalls Cha Soo-hyun shielding her. He gazes down with quiet protection.
She remembers his questions about school.
Memories of a laughing boy's surface. A sudden, sharp intake of breath sounds as Hannah stares intensely at Jihoon's face.
Jaehoon sweats profusely while adjusting his glasses, still feeling very self-conscious about his outfit.
Hannah tells Bo-young that there's no way he actually likes her.
Turning back to him, she bluntly asks why he suddenly came looking for her. A sudden, loud stomach growl sounds as Hannah realizes she is hungry and suggests they go eat.
Jihoon enthusiastically agrees to the meal as Bo-young says she has somewhere else to be. Hannah waves goodbye to her friend, telling Jaehoon they will just go by themselves.
Bo-young waves back with a smile, looking relieved to give the two some space.
Sunlight bathes the quiet school campus.
Bo-young stands with the tall brown-haired man who yawns widely in her presence.
Her hands clutch the gift tightly. The man looks at her with an unenthusiastic and bored expression. Bo-young explains she intended to give him the gift during dinner. The brown-haired man peers into the gift box as she explains he was too busy earlier. The brown-haired man looks on with an expression of sudden interest. He examines the high-end sneakers inside the box as Bo-young explains she bought them because she thought they would suit him.
A sudden, sharp click sounds as he rubs his chin while secretly planning to resell the expensive gift for a high price.
He praises her for finding the rare, limited edition old model while Bo-young gushes about it being destined for him.
He wonders if it is okay to keep receiving such gifts as she excitedly suggests they go for a meal.
He stops her and suggests they go for coffee instead, offering to pay as she enthusiastically agrees.
They walk across the university campus while he chooses a large, affordable cafe nearby. Bo-young struggles to keep up with his fast pace as they head toward the school gate.
She stops in surprise as she spots someone familiar nearby.
A sudden soft sigh sounds as she looks down with a momentarily dejected expression.
She quickly forces herself to laugh and put on a bright, cheerful face again.
Spotting Kim Dae-in across the street, Bo-young calls out to her while the black-haired girl reacts with surprise. Kim Dae-in waves a friendly greeting while walking beside the gray-haired Cha Soo-hyun. The two groups exchange news about their plans, with Kim Dae-in heading to a cafe and Hana heading back from a meal. Kim Dae-in waves goodbye and continues walking with her companion.
The brown-haired man stares at the back of the departing girl, thinking about how remarkably pretty she is. He asks Bo-young if the girl is her friend, while Bo-young praises her classmate's great personality.
He is surprised to hear about her popularity on the school forum and realizes where he recognizes her from.
A phone screen displays a post with Kim Dae-yeon's photo and comments discussing her rumored boyfriend.
He stares after her with a look of quiet realization, finally placing her identity.
He identifies the boy walking beside her as the rumored boyfriend people were talking about.
Boyoung continues to ramble on about how kind her friend is even when others forget their work. He notes with a smirk that the two girls seem close, while a small memory shows a frustrated Hana. He looks down with a predatory and calculating gaze, viewing her friendship as a potential reward.
A sudden soft tap sounds as he places his hand firmly on Boyoung's shoulder.
She turns to look at him with wide, surprised eyes at the sudden contact.
A sudden warm rush sounds as her face turns bright red from the unexpected intimacy.
He leans in close to her face, charmingly suggesting they go for a meal instead of just coffee.
A sudden rapid thudding sounds as Boyoung's heart races while she stares at him in a daze.
He watches her with a dark, sinister smirk, thinking that her true usefulness lies in her connections.
Hana and Ji-hoon walk through the park after their meal, with Hana patting her full stomach.
Ji-hoon stammers about the good meal while Hana notes it is a relief the school food is cheap. He nervously tries to invite her for coffee before she heads to the library, but is interrupted by a sudden shout.
A girl with glasses and a pink-haired boy approach the two, calling out a friendly greeting.
The girl with glasses asks Ji-hoon if he is from their department, making him jump in surprise. Hana quickly explains that he is a computer science student she is working with on a group project.
The pink-haired boy stares intensely at the sweating Ji-hoon, who remains frozen under the scrutiny.
Turning back to Hana, the girl with glasses asks how the current student council activities are progressing.
Hana remembers the angry senior screaming at her and responds with a hesitant hum.
The pink-haired boy rubs the back of his head, mentioning that he received an interesting tip.
He explains that the senior, Park Yeon-woo, has picked another fight, shocking Hana and Ji-hoon. He reveals that another student told him all about Hana's impressive and quick thinking during the incident.
Hana looks away with a somber expression, reflecting on the unpleasant encounter.
She suggests they simply try to avoid the senior as much as possible, since he isn't actively looking for them.
The girl with glasses looks down with a sad expression, apologizing for not being able to help more. Hana looks up with a reassuring smile, telling her friends that everything is okay.
The pink-haired boy promises to schedule their festival preparation times far apart to ensure they don't overlap.
Hana responds with a bright and relieved expression, happy to have their support.
The three friends chat happily together as the forgotten Ji-hoon stands awkwardly to the side.
Art features a student studying diligently at a desk surrounded by blooming cherry blossoms.
Spring blooms over the university campus.
A student council announcement highlights the vibrant spring energy overflowing across campus.
Kim Dae-yeon looks dejected as she reflects on how midterms prevent her from enjoying the season.
She imagines a romantic date at a cafe as a dream she refuses to abandon.
She recalls her hope for productive student council activities, but notes the reality was different.
A system window declares her quest to get a boyfriend an attempted failure.
Another quest notification shows her progress toward becoming a top student is currently halfway met.
Her quest to participate in student council activities remains in progress despite a high success rate.
A hidden quest notification featuring a devilish senior warns that her success rate will be lowered.
Kim Dae-yeon sighs dejectedly, feeling that none of her goals have succeeded so far.
Shaking her head, the orange-haired girl tells herself to get a grip after only 1 month.
Icons of student council members discuss coordinating their project schedules and festival preparations.
A pink-haired boy offers to schedule their festival preparation times far apart to avoid conflict.
Walking through the hall, Kim Dae-yeon hopes the seniors' promise to avoid each other holds true.
A sudden, sharp creak sounds as she tightly grips her backpack strap in frustration.
She resolves to simply endure the situation to ensure everything remains fine.
She reflects on the advice to let things go rather than being the target that stands out.
Kim Dae-yeon remains silent with a look of quiet conflict.
A sudden, sharp smack sounds as she slaps her cheeks while wondering if she did something wrong. She stands before the door to the student council office.
A sudden sharp creak sounds as she determines that the senior is the one picking fights.
Kim Dae-yeon opens the office door.
She joins her fellow council members as they organize boxes on the shelf. They discuss midterms ending their daily project duties, allowing for a more relaxed schedule.
A dark-haired boy mentions the upcoming festival and wonders about their booth plans. A sudden, loud thud sounds as Kim Dae-yeon is roughly bumped from behind.
A sudden, sharp bang sounds as she is shoved against the shelf.
The red-haired Hana rushes over, worriedly asking if her friend is okay. Kim Dae-yeon clutches her arm while glaring up at her attacker. The brown-haired Jeon-woo smirks, mockingly apologizing and claiming she was too small to see.
A sudden, sharp glare sounds as the orange-haired girl fumes at the senior's blatant disrespect.
Keon-woo scoffs at her reaction, mockingly asking if he said something unnecessary to someone who won't accept apologies.
Hana interjects, trying to de-escalate the situation by calling it a misunderstanding.
Hannah looks at her friend with concern while Kim Dae-in continues to glare at Gi-woo.
A memory of a previous encounter flashes through her mind.
She wonders if his hostility stems from an answer she gave during a recent school trip.
Hannah whispers for her to let it go as Kim Dae-in wonders if his pride was simply hurt.
Kim Dae-in bluntly tells the senior that it is obvious he doesn't like her.
Ji-woo reacts with shock as she calls out his repetitive and difficult behavior.
She asserts that she never said anything wrong, ignoring Hannah's plea to stop.
Ji-woo erupts in a furious shout as the dark-haired boy struggles to hold him back. Hannah grabs her shoulder, demanding to know what is wrong with her.
Kim Dae-in stands her ground, asking if he plans to act this way every time they meet.
Gi-woo challenges her next move as she declares one of them must disappear from sight.
He yells in disbelief, asking if she is telling him to leave while blaming another senior's influence. Kim Dae-in declares she will be the one to quit out of respect for her elders.
She turns and marches out of the room, leaving the others in stunned silence.
A sudden, sharp click sounds as she slams the door behind her.
A sudden, angry shout sounds as Hannah calls out for her to wait.
Hannah catches up in the hallway, asking if she is truly serious about quitting. Hannah questions Kim Dae-in's reaction, advising her that she needs to endure the situation moderately and sometimes just let things go.
A sudden, soft sigh sounds as Kim Dae-in agrees, wishing she were capable of simply enduring the conflict.
Kim Dae-in admits she cannot be moderate like Hannah and apologizes for the trouble before thanking her for all the help.
Narrative text notes that it is suddenly April, a month too short to fulfill the high hopes and plans she once made.
Kim Dae-in reflects on the state of her goals with a somber expression. Narration observes that not everything can go according to plan as Kim Dae-in looks at a small scratch on her hand. Narrative text states that lately nothing has been going according to her original plan. The narration continues, explaining that she feels just a little bit down because of these setbacks.
Petals fall around her feet as she walks across the campus.
Kim Dae-in enters a room where several students are gathered.
Bo-young, the gray-haired Cha Soo-yeon, and a black-haired girl are sitting together at a long table.
Kim Dae-in watches them with a quiet expression.
A sudden, happy gasp sounds as Bo-young greets her friend with a bright, energetic smile.
The black-haired girl offers a friendly greeting while Cha Soo-yeon looks on calmly.
Bo-young excitedly clings to Kim Dae-in, who remains somewhat stunned by the sudden affection.
The black-haired girl asks Cha Soo-yeon if he has considered the request she made earlier.
She explains that she told the gray-haired boy to pick whatever he wants to eat because she owes him a great deal.
A sudden, bright sparkle sounds as Bo-young and Dae-in react with shock to the idea of the two going on dates.
Cha Soo-yeon checks his phone and suggests that they skip lunch to go for dessert instead.
The black-haired girl agrees, mentioning a specific dessert shop near the campus she has been wanting to visit.
A social media screen shows photos of colorful donuts and sweet treats from a local cafe.
A sudden, cheerful shout sounds as Bo-young reveals she has also been wanting to go there.
Bo-young enthusiastically describes the famous muffins and cakes they serve as her excitement overflows.
A sudden, awkward silence sounds as she stops mid-sentence and looks at the others with wide eyes.
A sudden, nervous gulp sounds as Bo-young begins to sweat under her friend's gaze.
She sheepishly admits that she feels a bit guilty about everything she eats. Kim Dae-in watches her with a deadpan expression, thinking that she expected such a response.
The black-haired girl invites the others to join them, but Bo-young hesitates until Cha Soo-yeon tells her it's fine to eat if she wants. Bo-young reacts with wide, hopeful eyes as she processes the invitation to join them for dessert.
The black-haired girl gushes about how helpful Bo-young was with their project as the group prepares to head out.
Kim Dae-in reflects on her current assignments with a thoughtful expression.
She recalls a memory of Hannah rushing over to check on her after being shoved by the senior.
A sudden, sharp glare sounds as she remembers standing her ground against Gi-woo despite the unpleasantness.
Bo-young pulls on her arm, pleading for her to join them while making a sad face.
Cha Soo-yeon mentions that they can go to the cafe and then visit the library together after their final lecture.
Kim Dae-in looks at her bag, wondering if it is really okay for her to make such a choice on a whim.
A close-up focuses on the scratch on her hand as the title Dane appears on the screen.
The scene shifts to the exterior of the Copper Coffee Cafe as petals drift past the glass.
Bo-young and Kim Dae-in sit together at a table inside the quiet, rustic cafe. The black-haired girl stands at the counter with Cha Soo-yeon as they place their order with the employee. The register screen displays a total of 42,000 won for the group's order.
Cha Soo-yeon quickly hands over his card while the black-haired girl reacts with wide-eyed surprise.
A sudden, loud thud sounds as she grabs his arm, protesting that she was the one who was supposed to pay today. Cha Soo-yeon simply walks away after paying, telling her it's fine because it wasn't even his money. He returns to the table where a delighted Bo-young is already surrounded by hearts and happy energy.
The black-haired girl notices Bo-young's dejected expression and asks her what is wrong.
A sudden, soft sniff sounds as Bo-young complains that the photo she took for her social media story came out ugly.
The black-haired girl reassures her and asks for the phone, promising to take a much better photo herself.
A sudden, rapid click sounds as the girl focuses intently on capturing the perfect shot of the desserts. She continues to take numerous photos from different angles to ensure they find the best one for the story. The black-haired girl gazes at her phone and reflects on how something feels missing from the shot. She reaches across the cafe table and asks Dayin to try taking the photo for her.
The orange-haired girl takes the phone to capture the perfect image of their colorful desserts.
Boyoung lets out a happy gasp as a loud wow sounds while she looks at the phone.
She is delighted by the photo on the screen showing the group's cakes and drinks.
They praise Kim Dae-in for being a photo genius, while the gray-haired boy admits it's not bad. Kang-da suggests she has a natural talent, but the orange-haired girl brushes it off as luck.
Kim Dae-in looks downcast as she admits the praise actually makes her feel sadder.
Boyoung happily announces she has posted all the photos and thanks her friend for the up.
The orange-haired girl watches her friends with a quiet and thoughtful expression.
The group continues their relaxed conversation while sitting together in the rustic cafe.
The black-haired girl asks to be called Pretty Da, noting it's a nickname she's had since childhood.
Boyoung hesitatingly asks if she can really use such an intimate nickname for her.
Kang Da confirms it's fine because they are close friends who do their homework together.
Cha Soo-hyun mentions that he bought the cake and confirms that he genuinely likes it.
They discuss visiting a scooter cafe next while a pink-haired boy watches them from the background.
Kim Dae-in remains silent as she is lost in her own heavy thoughts.
A memory flashes of a younger girl with glasses hiding away in a study cubicle.
The memory continues as the girl is suddenly struck in the head by a stray volleyball. Kim Dae-in reflects on how she could have stayed on the council if she had swallowed her pride. She tightly grips her own arm while thinking about her constant need to be perfect.
She recalls Hana's advice to endure and realizes she cannot simply let things slide like others.
A looming thought bubble expresses her deep uncertainty about what she should do from now on.
A sudden, sharp ow sounds as Kim Dae-in notices the small scratch on her head.
She reflects on feeling like a crooked stone regardless of where she goes in life. Kang Da's attention is suddenly drawn to the injury on the orange-haired girl's hand.
She asks how Dane got hurt, but the girl claims she only twisted it a bit.
Boyoung panics about the pain while the gray-haired boy offers to get band-aids.
A hand reaches into a bag to pull out a box of adhesive bandages for her. Kang Da carefully applies a band-aid to protect what she calls her friend's golden hand.
She leans in close and notes that the scratch must have hurt her a lot.
She smiles warmly and tells Dane to ask her whenever she needs anything else. Cha Soo-hyun questions if a pharmacy would be easier as the group continues to chat. Kang Da enjoys her food while wondering if someone like Dane ever has truly hard days. The scene transitions to the bustling and noisy environment of the school cafeteria. A delicious bowl of hot beef and rice is served on a tray.
Kim Dae-in finds the school's cafeteria food to be surprisingly good as she eats.
A pink-haired boy grumbles about losing talent because of a certain senior's behavior. They mention another senior getting in trouble while the orange-haired girl listens. The pink-haired boy notes that the one who truly should leave the council refuses to do so. The boy with glasses admits he was genuinely looking forward to working with Dane. He expresses his own apologies and regret over how the council situation unfolded. He bluntly criticizes the orange-haired girl for lacking grit and simply running away. Kim Dae-in wonders why she should have to grit her teeth over such an unpleasant situation. She stares at the boy with a look of quiet and stunned realization. The boy with glasses smiles and notes that his life isn't over just because he quit.
The pink-haired boy expresses his own desire to drop everything and run away.
A sudden tired sigh sounds as the boys joke about going to the army instead. The pink-haired boy notes that many students quit the council because of Park Yeon-woo.
The boy with glasses agrees that Dane isn't lacking grit but is simply being smart.
Kim Dae-in agrees with a quiet expression.
So Ji-ho claims a senior is only acting out because a girl rejected him, but the orange-haired girl tells him to stop.
The pink-haired boy asks what the others are staring at as the boy with glasses spots a specific senior.
A strikingly beautiful woman with long, dark, wavy hair appears.
So Ji-ho identifies her as the dance major Lee Chae-won, noting she is even prettier than a celebrity as the others agree.
The boy with glasses recalls her popularity as a freshman, while rumors swirled about her dating, leading Dae-in to note that beauty has its downsides.
The pink-haired boy suggests her popularity wasn't the end of her story, leaving Kim Dae-in confused. The boy with glasses tells Seo Ji-ho to drop the pointless talk, but the pink-haired boy insists that the senior was actually a victim. Kim Dae-in asks what the story is.
The boy with glasses reveals that the senior was nearly assaulted right at the school.
A dark screen explains her boyfriend at the time was a famous and popular guy. A memory shows the man trying to force himself on her late at night in a practice room before someone stopped him, leading to a police report. Kim Dae-in asks if he was punished, only to learn he simply took a break to join the army, prompting her to shout that he should have paid for his actions.
After the perpetrator vanished, rumors turned viciously against the victim, yet she managed to graduate on time without any breaks.
The pink-haired boy wonders why she is back today, while the boy with glasses expresses envy over her successful career path. Kim Dae-in stares in stunned silence.
She reflects on her mistaken belief that attractive people always lead easy, happy lives.
She realizes that her assumption isn't always true as she watches the senior.
A detective-themed title card for Gain.
The scene shifts to Dae-in, Bo-young, and a boy with glasses working on laptops in a booth.
Bo-young announces their data is sorted while the orange-haired girl asks about a file sent by a senior named Ji-han-ul.
The boy with glasses begins to sweat nervously when asked what is Mong. He admits he cannot find any of the sources listed in the file, shocking the two girls.
A sudden, frantic clicking sounds. A computer screen shows no search results for the keyword Yagarojuna.
Bo-young wonders why the content is present if the sources cannot be found.
Kim Dae-in explodes in anger, accusing the senior of dumping unchecked AI-generated output now that web scraping is banned.
A sudden, quick tap sounds as she prepares to confront Jung Han-ul face-to-face. A sudden, long ringing sounds.
Kim Dae-in shouts into her phone, demanding to know why the senior didn't handle his part of the project while the boy with glasses stammers an excuse.
Bo-young suggests they visit a place where the senior might be ending out.
Kim Dae-in slams the table as she stands up in a rage.
She commands the others to lead the way. They arrive at the door of the university's elite track running club. A sudden, rhythmic melody sounds from inside the room as Kim Dae-in pauses. Inside, 3 athletic men lounge around a table while discussing a captain and someone they call Sweaty.
A sudden, sharp beep sounds as Dane's call fails to connect once again.
The men inside laugh about someone's poor stamina and constant group work issues.
Bo-young recoils in shock when one man mentions a jerk bought another guy a watch for a team project.
The group listens intently from outside the door.
A brown-haired man shows off his watch, claiming he would sell it immediately if it were a luxury brand.
A close-up shows the expensive-looking watch on his wrist.
He smirks and questions why he only received a 3 million won gift. He cruelly remarks that her own clothes cost far more and calls the situation pearls on a pig, leaving Bo-young devastated.
The boy with glasses gapes in horror while Kim Dae-in's expression turns dark.
She vows to grill the man once she sees his face.
Dane is livid as she realizes Bo-young has been buying the man expensive gifts while following him around. Her fury boils over at the mention of even more gifts. A sudden, loud shout sounds as the others desperately try to hold back the exploding Kim Dae-in.
She fumes with rage as her hand grips her arm.
Bo-young looks downcast as she suggests they finish up for the day.
The orange-haired girl watches her friend with a silent and inquisitive expression.
A long, tired sigh sounds as Bo-young leans against her friend while walking away from the office.
She resolves to buy an even better gift for someone next time as the group walks down the long hallway.
Inside a room, 3 athletic men laugh about how another girl will soon be left crying over Jang Han-ul.
Jung Han-ul smirks while touching his face and notes that the girl is still useful to him.
2 men lounge on a couch while discussing a plan to succeed and score something for an older associate.
They can confirm they can obtain several items as they sit near shelves filled with bottles and files.
Han-ul looks intensely focused as he decides to take just one for the moment.
A hand holds up a phone displaying a candid photo of a black-haired girl in the school corridor.
The screen identifies her as Kang Dae-in, a student from the business school class of 2025.
Forum posts highlight how she became instantly famous for her incredible beauty on the first day of the term. A photo captures her happily dating another popular campus celebrity she met during a club fair. The couple is described as being inseparable at school, yet she vanishes the moment her lectures end.
Han-ul watches with a serious and calculating gaze. He notes that she is busy sneaking off without her boyfriend.
He realizes she is actually pushing herself to the limit working various part-time jobs.
He ruffles his hair in frustration, noting she is never alone and his timing has been terrible.
Han-ul listens as Bo-young excitedly discusses a famous pie place while he insults her boyfriend.
Kim Dae-in looks at her phone and realizes the location is actually quite far from the campus.
Bo-young asks if Dae-in wants to come along during their long break tomorrow. She looks disappointed when her friend declines, explaining she is too tired from her jobs.
Bo-young assumes that Bo-in will just spend the break sleeping in the nupper.
Han-ul listens intently and notes that the girl will be alone during the long break.
A sinister smile spreads across his face as he finds the situation to be perfect.
The orange-haired girl asks Bo-young if she is free to go to the cafeteria.
Han-ul watches them with a charming and pleasant smile.
He suddenly asks Bo-young if she has any free time right now.
He leans in close across the table toward the surprised girl.
Bo-young blushes intensely and stammers in shock at his sudden attention. Kim Dae-in watches suspiciously, wondering if the senior is just broke and looking for a free meal.
He tells Bo-young they should eat whatever she likes and save her packed lunch for later.
Bo-young stands up excitedly and announces she will be eating with him today.
Her friend tells her to go ahead and enjoy herself.
A sudden rhythmic patter sounds as Bo-young happily runs off to follow the man.
Kim Dae-in approaches the boy with glasses and asks if he is headed to the library again.
He begins to sweat profusely and stammers that he has somewhere else he must go first.
A sudden sharp creak sounds as the boy makes a very hurried exit from the room. The orange-haired girl watches him leave while wondering what is wrong with him.
A colorful title card shows Bo-young smiling happily while holding a large bouquet of flowers.
A sudden rhythmic clinking sounds as the two share a meal of pasta and steak.
Han-ul glances at his companion while taking a bite of his food.
They sit together at a restaurant table with their drinks and phones laid up.
He takes a drink and asks her if she would like to get matching phone cases.
Boyoung is stunned and blushes deeply at the romantic suggestion. He casually explains that he saw her phone case and thought it looked cute.
She blushes even harder and tells him they can pick out whichever one he likes. He looks at his phone with a nonchalant expression and shrugs. A sudden sharp thud sounds as he stands up and suggests they go buy them immediately.
A sudden low scraping sounds as Boyoung panics and asks him to wait just a moment.
A brown-haired man walks away while a girl with a bow fumbles with her bag at their table. The man stops and asks if she rushed out without a wallet. A sudden, quick swish sounds as the girl pulls out her wallet while assuring him she has it.
A sudden, low sliding sounds as she hands over her card to pay for their lunch at the counter. A sudden, soft pat sounds as the man thanks Boyoung for the meal and pats her head while she blushes.
The cashier watches them with a judgmental expression while thinking that the girl is the sugar mama today.
The two browse through a store together to look at a variety of colorful phone cases.
A row of decorative flip phone cases is displayed on a shelf in the store.
The brown-haired girl suggests they get matching navy and pink cases.
The man suddenly picks the pink case for himself as the girl watches in surprise.
He confirms his preference for the pink color while the girl watches him with wide eyes. He considers the dark tones of the other cases while checking the one in his hand.
He notes that there is no point if they aren't identical while the girl watches him intently.
A sudden quick tap sounds as the girl points to a bear-themed case while asking if it looks adorable.
The man gives a dismissive response and tells her to pick whichever one she likes.
The girl looks down at the case she's holding with a somber and thoughtful expression.
A sudden loud squeal sounds as she realizes he is letting her choose everything.
She excitedly suggests they both get matching pink phone cases.
A sudden sharp click sounds as the man checks his phone while the girl continues to type on hers.
A sudden low sliding sound as she holds their phones together while celebrating their new couple cases. A sudden quick swish sounds as he turns his head away while giving her a vague and dismissive response.
The girl looks confused and slightly hurt by his sudden change in attitude.
The girl stares at her phone in silence as a long vibration is felt.
A sudden quick swish sounds as he glances at her while she continues to look at her phone.
The brown-haired man looks annoyed as he criticizes a messy pattern displayed on the screen.
The boy with glasses looks stressed while standing in front of several posted documents in a hallway.
A faded memory shows the group working together on a project at a cafe table. A sudden loud boom sounds in the memory as Dane shouts in anger about a senior's unchecked AI output. A sudden low sounds as Soo-hyun groans about the ongoing stress from the team project.
The boy with glasses walks down the hallway with a heavy and tired sigh.
A sudden sharp tap sounds as he approaches a door labeled for a professor.
He enters the office and bows politely while greeting the professor.
He holds a progress report and a flash drive for his team project.
A large university building stands under a clear and bright sky. The group sits together at a long table in a classroom during their break. Soo-hyun asks Boyoung if she changed her phone case.
Boyoung blushes as she explains she matched cases with Han-ul yesterday.
Soo-hyun looks unimpressed and questions the occasion for the matching cases.
The girl's excitement sparkles as she brags that her boyfriend even chose pink to match her style.
The dark-haired girl is touched as she expresses pride in Soo-hyun for making a new friend.
She asks Diane about her break plans and suggests she go to the cafe with him.
Soo-hyun explains her team meeting plans and mentions a deceptive senior while Boyoung listens.
She reminds Boyoung about their prior commitment to go to the cafe and work on the presentation.
The dark-haired boy asks if the group is heading out immediately.
Boyoung mentions she needs to make a quick stop and ask if she can leave in an hour.
The boy checks his watch and agrees that it should be fine during the break.
The girl jumps up with a wide smile while setting a meeting time for 1 o'clock.
Soo-hyun tilts her head in confusion as her friend runs happily out of the room.
Dane stretches her arms and announces she is heading to the nap room due to her part-time jobs.
Soo-hyun tilts her head while questioning if it is appropriate for a boyfriend to visit a cafe with another girl.
The black-haired girl tells the dark-haired boy that she already had a cup meal before coming to school.
A sudden loud yawn sounds as she announces her intention to head to the nap room immediately.
Soo-hyun looks completely shocked as she watches her friend's casual and tired display.
The dark-haired boy suggests she eat after waking, while the orange-haired girl notes they look like a mother and daughter.
A sudden, low sliding sounds as the thought highlights how fortunate the black-haired girl is to have such a supportive boyfriend.
A faded memory shows a worried girl and mentions a dangerous situation involving a senior from the past.
The orange-haired girl sighs while realizing that being beautiful certainly makes life much easier for some people. A pink phone displays a profile and messages for the black-haired girl during the break.
A sudden, rhythmic nodding sounds as the girl begins to doze off while sitting alone at a table. A sudden, long vibration sounds as her phone buzzes intensely in her resting hand.
A sudden, quick blink sounds as she wakes up with a confused expression and checks her screen.
A text message from her friend asks her to come to the physical education department as soon as possible.
The girl looks at the message with a confused tilt as she wonders why she's being summoned there.
A sudden soft tapping sounds as she clarifies if the request was truly intended for her specifically.
She stares at the phone with an inquisitive gaze while questioning if the message is really for her.
The chat bubble repeats the urgent request for the black-haired girl to come over right away.
A faded memory shows the girl smiling brightly and pointing at her cheek during a happy moment.
A sudden heavy thud sounds as she realizes the serious tone of the message means her friend needs help.
The black-haired girl walks outside while her orange-haired friend and a boy with glasses watch her from a distance.
Soohyun approaches her and asks why she isn't in the nap room like she originally planned.
A sudden quick swish sounds as the girl turns around in shock and nervously claims the nap room was full.
Her friend suggests resting in the lounge instead while questioning exactly where the girl is headed now.
She feels a sense of unease as she notes her friend used her full name, implying a very serious matter.
A sudden confused mutter sounds as she struggles to find the right words to explain her sudden departure.
She lies about receiving a call from her friend while her orange-haired companion tells her to have a good trip.
A sudden tired sigh sounds as she walks away, leaving her suspicious friend standing in the corridor.
The girl arrives at a gray door marked with a prominent yellow sign for the athletic department.
A sudden soft knock sounds as she tentatively peeks inside the room while calling out for her friend.
A muscular man with longish brown hair and a black tank top sits casually on a couch inside.
The girl's eye widens in absolute horror as she recognizes the person sitting in the office. A sudden sharp gasp sounds as her mind recalls a troubling encounter with a senior from the past. A faded memory shows the muscular man walking alongside a girl who appears visibly upset. The memory captures the man's cold and calculating expression during their previous meeting.
A sudden quick peek sounds as the girl nervously asks where her friend has gone.
A sudden low sliding sound as the man stands up and explains that the girl just went to the restroom.
A sudden quick turn sounds as the girl tries to leave, but the man suddenly grabs her by the arm.
A sudden heavy impact sounds as he firmly holds her in place while she looks back at him in shock.
A sudden low chuckle sounds as he tells her it would be awkward for her to go looking for her friend now.
A sudden soft sigh sounds as the man's hand remains locked tightly around the girl's sleeve.
A sudden gentle grin sounds as the man tells the girl to just sit down and wait for her friend to return.
A sudden chilling shiver sounds as a wave of intense dread washes over the black-haired girl.
A sudden sharp click sounds as the man locks the door and smirks while the girl tries to remain calm.
He retrieves a drink while noting that her friend has something very important to share with her.
A hand places a cold bottle of mocha coffee on the table directly in front of the seated girl.
The man leans in and tells her she should have a drink while she waits for her friend.
The girl stares at the bottle with a terrified and suspicious expression while breaking into a cold sweat.
Her eyes reflect the bottle as she trembles with fear in the presence of the sinister senior.
A sudden heavy throb sounds as dark and obsessive thoughts about her beauty fill the room.
A sudden sharp gasp sounds as the man mockingly asks if she is actually worried the drink has been drugged.
A sudden violent flinch sounds as the girl reacts in terror to his blunt and frightening question. The senior aggressively demands proof and mocks his team's inability to remain silent during the project dispute.
The black-haired girl sits tensely on the couch while desperately reminding herself that she needs concrete evidence.
She decides to pretend to drink and sleep while secretly turning on her phone's recorder to catch him.
She puts on a fake smile and tells the senior she will drink the mocha coffee properly after all.
She takes a drink and sets the bottle down while planning to blame any ensuing sleep on exhaustion.
She lies down on the sofa while hoping she can hold out until her friend returns to the room. The muscular senior watches her with a cold and predatory smirk as she begins to close her eyes.
He stands over her as she remains still, his expression turning increasingly sinister as he prepares to move.
He encourages her to hurry and fall asleep quickly while watching her closely from the shadows of the room.
He reaches out toward her with a deliberate and calculated motion as she remains motionless on the couch.
Her eyes fly open as she realizes the immediate danger and prepares to react to his sudden approach.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as his large hand slams over her mouth to prevent her from screaming.
He pins her down forcefully while checking his phone as she lets out muffled and desperate cries for help.
Her phone falls to the floor with a soft thud while she continues to struggle against his overwhelming strength.
Tears well in her eyes as he clamps his hand tighter over her mouth, silencing her muffled attempts to scream.
He mocks her by claiming he is far smarter than he appears while she trembles beneath him in absolute terror. A sudden low sounds as she struggles to breathe while he continues to hold her down with force.
Her vision begins to blur as she despairs over her inability to escape the senior's terrifying and violent grip. A cold and triumphant smirk spreads across the man's face as he realizes his plan is working perfectly.
Outside, a dark-haired boy runs across the university plaza to meet his brown-haired girlfriend who is waiting patiently.
A sudden heavy pant sounds as he apologizes for being late and mentions that he tried calling her.
The brown-haired girl looks confused while checking her pink phone and noting that she never received any call.
She grows flustered as she struggles to unlock the device while her friends watch her with curious expressions.
The orange-haired girl approaches and asks about the whereabouts of their black-haired friend while the boy looks on. Soo-hyun explains that she received a call from Bo-young earlier and saw the black-haired girl heading their way. A sudden, long vibration sounds as the brown-haired girl insists she never contacted anyone while her phone buzzes repeatedly. The screen displays several suspicious messages from a person named Choi Tae-wook asking if a plan was successful.
The group stares at the phone in shock while the girl nervously claims she has no idea what is happening.
Soo-hyun asks if the sender is her friend while the brown-haired girl looks increasingly pale and distressed.
A sudden, chilling shiver sounds as she begins to piece together a terrifying possibility regarding the senior.
A faded memory shows her approaching the senior in a hallway while asking him what is going on. The senior gives her a charming look while asking if he is disturbing her existing plans for the day. She insists that she is happy to see him while waving her hands in a frantic and excited manner.
She pauses for a moment as she wonders how he even knew she had plans to meet her friends.
He claims he heard her mention it in the lecture hall yesterday as she listens with wide, admiring eyes. She is touched by his apparent thoughtfulness while secretly thinking about how sweet and attentive he seems.
She notices a small, dark stain on the cuff of her sweater and wonders when it got there. She tells him she needs to use the restroom, and he asks to borrow her phone since his is dead.
She hands him her unlocked phone with a smile while he thanks her for the favor with the brin.
A sudden, low sliding sounds as they swap devices, and he hands her back a phone that looks identical. She happily puts the device into her bag while thanking him for letting her help him out earlier.
A sudden, sharp click sounds as the senior smirks to himself while watching the unsuspecting girl walk away.
In the present, the brown-haired girl trembles with fear as she realizes that she was tricked by the senior. Han-ol places a hand on her shoulder while asking if she is okay, but she remains frozen in shock. The entire group watches her with growing concern as the gravity of the situation begins to settle on them. A sudden, low gasp sounds as she struggles to form words while staring down at the phone in her hands. She finally manages to whisper that the device she is holding is not actually her own phone after all. Soo-hyun looks completely stunned as she asks her friend to clarify exactly what she means by that statement.
The orange-haired girl stares in wide-eyed realization as the pieces of the senior's deception finally connect.
A sudden, sharp snap sounds as she reaches out and takes the device to examine it more closely herself. Soo-hyun stares at the pink phone in her hands with a look of growing concern and shock. In a happy memory, Bo-young excitedly shows off her new pink phone, bragging that her senior got a matching one just for her. Back in the present, Soo-hyun holds the device out toward the group and asks Bo-young if this is actually Han-ol's phone. Bo-young begins to tremble as tears well in her eyes, weakly admitting that she believes the device was swapped. The group stands in the plaza in stunned silence as Bo-young frantically panics about what she should do next.
Soo-hyun turns away sharply and wonders aloud how that senior could possibly know anything about Daein.
Han-ul looks at Bo-young while she nervously explains that they had only ever greeted the senior in passing before. Bo-young becomes increasingly flustered as she reveals that the senior had previously asked her for Da-in's phone number. Soo-hyun rounds on her friend and demands to know if she actually gave the senior the requested contact information. Han-ul places a calming hand on Soo-hyun's shoulder while noting the senior wouldn't have needed to swap phones if he already had the number.
Soo-hyun grows even more suspicious as she questions why anyone would go through the trouble of switching devices on purpose. A chilling memory of the senior's previous attempt to attack Dae-in at school flashes through Soo-hyun's mind, fueling her dread.
Overcome by a sense of immediate danger, Soo-hyun turns and begins to sprint away from her confused friends. A close-up of a shoe hitting the pavement captures the urgency of the moment while thoughts of a peaceful life fade away. A faded image of Dae-in smiling brightly appears as Soo-hyun laments her previous assumptions about her friend's happiness. Dark shadows of judgmental classmates surround a memory of Dae-in, highlighting how her beauty. Whispers of jealousy and cruel rumors fill the air as Dae-in stands isolated amidst a crowd of faceless mocking peers. Soo-hyun continues to run at full speed while berating herself for not realizing the true depth of the danger sooner. A melancholic portrait shows Dae-in looking out through a rainy window, symbolizing the hidden sadness behind her perfect appearance. The entire group follows Soo-hyun's lead, running across the university campus toward the physical education building. Han-ul keeps pace with Soo-hyun and asks if she has a specific destination in mind, but she frantically admits she doesn't. Han-ul points out that they shouldn't just run blindly and suggests they check the athletic department first. The boy with glasses and the others look back as they continue their desperate search for any sign of their friend. Gasping for breath, the boy with glasses manages to point out the direction he saw Dae-in heading earlier. Bo-young pants heavily and suggests that Diane might be trapped inside the running club's room within the athletic department.
The scene shifts to the gray door of the running club's office as Bo-young confirms this is the likely location.
Soo-hyun's expression hardens with fierce determination as she stares at the entrance and confirms they have found the place.
The group arrives outside the office door and pauses for a brief moment to catch their breath before acting.
Soo-hyun grinds her teeth in a fit of rage and silently vows that the senior is finished if he has harmed her friend.
Inside the quiet room, the senior sits at a table and watches over the unconscious Dae-in as she lies on the sofa.
A sinister smirk spreads across the man's face as he reflects on how attractive she appeared even at a distance. He leans closer to the sleeping girl and notes with predatory satisfaction that she is even more beautiful up close.
His attention is suddenly snapped toward the door as he hears muffled voices and movement coming from the hallway outside.
A sudden, heavy bang sounds against the door, but the senior remains calm, knowing he locked every entrance securely.
He reaches out toward Dae-in's face with a slow and deliberate motion while the chaos continues outside the room. The senior suddenly flinches and spins around in shock as he senses someone watching him from a different vantage point.
A bead of sweat rolls down his face as his expression shifts from confidence to confusion and growing irritation.
He stares up toward the high window of the office and demands to know who is looking in on him.
Soo-hyun's furious eye is visible through a gap in the window as she issues a lethal threat to the man inside.
The scene flashes back to the group's frantic approach, their feet pounding against the tiled floor of the corridor.
Soo-hyun leads the charge through the empty hallway with Hanul and the others following close behind her. She reaches the office door and begins to rattle the handle violently, only to find that it has been locked from the inside.
Soo-hyun steps back in frustration while her friends look on with wide eyes and growing worry for Diane.
She leans her head against the cold surface of the door and listens intently for any sound of movement from within.
A sudden, soft rustle sounding from the other side of the door confirms to Soo-hyun that someone is indeed inside the room.
Hanul, Bo-young, and the boy with glasses stand behind her with puzzled expressions, unsure of what they should do next.
Soo-hyun begins to scan the hallway and the upper walls of the office, looking for any other possible way to gain entry.
She notes a small window high up on the wall and wonders if there is anything she can use to reach it.
Hanul steps forward and begins to prepare himself to give his friend the physical boost she needs to reach the opening.
Soo-hyun watches as Han-ol braces himself, and she prepares to climb up to confront the senior through the window.
Han-ol looks up with a confused and startled expression.
A sudden, firm thud sounds as a white sneaker presses into the middle of his back. Soo-hyun stands on his back to reach the window while apologizing for borrowing him.
A sudden, soft shh sounds as she puts a finger to her lips to signal silence.
She struggles to reach the window and tells Han-ol to stand up a bit more. He looks back at her with a pained and thoroughly annoyed expression.
A sudden, low sounds as she demands he stand straighter while he groans in discomfort.
The entire group wobbles as she nearly loses her balance while trying to peer inside.
The boy with glasses offers to help, but she rejects him for being too short.
Her hand grips the window ledge as she holds up a phone to begin recording.
She insists that he lift her higher as her shoes dig into his black jacket.
He looks back and warns her that it is dangerous and she shouldn't jump. She remains focused on the opening, claiming she needs more height to see clearly inside.
His legs strain and tremble under the pressure as she continues to push herself upward.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as she finally catches sight of the scene within the room.
Her phone captures a video of the senior standing over the unconscious black-haired girl. Her expression shifts into one of pure, unadulterated rage and murderous intent. A sudden, heavy thud sounds as a fist strikes the door with a lethal threat.
A dramatic portrait shows a girl pointing a gun through a web of shattered glass.
Inside the room, the senior looks toward the door and wonders if an evil spirit is outside. He looks down at the sleeping girl, frustrated that his perfect timing has been ruined.
Multiple thuds sound as she screams for him to open the door before she breaks it.
She pounds on the door with all her might while the boys watch and worry.
The boy with glasses worries about property damage and tells her she cannot do that.
He decides he must go find an assistant teacher to help resolve the escalating situation.
A sudden, low sob sounds as Bo-young fears for the safety of her friend.
Soo-hyun turns back toward them with a fierce and determined glare in her eyes.
She hands the phone to Bo-young and tells her to record everything instead of crime.
Han-ul places a hand on her shoulder and calmly tells her to move aside.
She looks up at him in utter confusion at his sudden and serious command.
He picks up a heavy fire extinguisher and prepares to smash the door open himself.
A sudden low whoa sounds as the girls look on with expressions of pure shock. He stands before the entrance with the red cylinder held ready for a powerful strike. A sudden long creak sounds as the door finally swings open to reveal the senior. The scene blurs into a flurry of motion as the group rushes into the room.
A sudden, low gasp sounds as they find the black-haired girl unresponsive on the sofa. Soo-hyun rushes to her side and tries to wake her while the others gather around.
She notes that her friend seems to be breathing properly despite her unconscious state.
Han-yeol suggests taking her to the hospital immediately, even though she appears to be sleeping. The senior tries to stop them, claiming she merely fell asleep on her home.
A close-up shows a mobile device screen with the emergency number being dialed.
The senior grabs Han-ul's arm and asks if he has lost his mind.
Han-ul asks if he intends to use violence and accuses him of committing serious crimes.
The senior mocks the accusation while Soo-hyun demands to know where his conscience is.
She points a finger at him and accuses him of trying to drug their friend. A sudden low ha sounds as he looks at her and asks if she has proof.
A chilling silence fills the room as the group stares him down in anger. He shrugs and claims he was only letting a sleepy kid rest on the sofa. He leans in and tells her that false accusations are why one shouldn't be kind.
Soo-hyun demands to know why he switched phones and contacted her friend while pretending to be someone else.
The senior claims that switching phones with Nam Bo-young was a mistake and insists he was simply confused because the two device cases were identical.
Bo-young reminds him through her tears that he expressed interest in her friend and even asked for her number, but he dismisses the accusation as non-criminal.
He notes that she never actually gave him the number, so he stopped asking, while Bo-young stands before him with her shoulders trembling.
Soo-hyun mentions the phone switch again, but the senior dismisses it as a mistake while Han-ul holds her back, causing her to groan in frustration.
She glances back at her friend.
Her face is clouded with fury.
Soo-hyun explodes with rage and demands to know why he treated her friend like trash while getting matching phone cases right before the incident.
The group stands in a tense standoff within the office while the black-haired girl remains unresponsive on the sofa.
A close-up shows Bo-young's eyes welling up with tears as the weight of the situation sets in. The senior brushes his hair back with a weary sigh while calling out to Bo-young in a manipulative tone. He looks at her with a heavy gaze and asks if she truly believes he matched the phone cases just for his own benefit.
The man claims he only got the matching case because she wanted it, and argues it was his way of showing affection, adding that she could have just asked for money if she needed it. A hopeful memory of the girl contrasts with Soo-hyun's disgust as she wonders if her friend is truly blinded by her feelings for such a piece of trash.
The senior offers a manipulative smile and asks Bo-young if she understands his perspective despite the current chaos. Bo-young looks up at him with a faint, hopeful expression while uttering a soft and trembling plea.
He tells her that if things have come to this, she should be the one to tell the others the truth.
A series of slow, deliberate footsteps echo as someone moves across the floor. Soo-hyun and Han-ul look on in disbelief as the senior insists that the group is making false accusations against him.
The man prompts her to hurry and speak up while Soo-hyun stares in horror at the unfolding manipulation.
A memory of orientation shows Dae-in introducing herself to a surprised and wide-eyed Bo-young. Narrative text explains that they began hanging out by chance after being seated next to each other at the university event. A bright memory shows Dae-in posing while Bo-young notes how much her friend loved to dress up and look pretty.
Another snapshot shows the black-haired girl happily hugging a stuffed animal, highlighting her deep love for cute things.
A sudden soft sounds as she joyfully eats a piece of cake, proving her simple love for delicious food.
Dae-in sparkles with excitement as the narration mentions her innocent dreams of finding romance on the university campus.
The perspective shifts as the narrator notes how the senior seemed to ignore and exploit Bo-young while claiming he was just checking his watch. A close-up of Dae-in shows her looking wide-eyed and flustered during a previous encounter. She is shown following him around the classroom and openly expressing her affection for the older student. The scene returns to the present as the narrator admits they expected Bo-young to get at least a little angry in this situation.
Fragments of the recent past show Bo-young sobbing at the door and then leaning over her unconscious friend in despair.
The senior leans in and insists that Bo-young should be the one to tell the group that he isn't the kind of person they think he is. A flashback shows Bo-young defending him to her friends, suggesting he must have simply made a mistake. She is shown smiling brightly while convincing herself that he didn't have any bad intentions toward her or anyone else. In the present, the senior looms over her while the narrator recognizes the familiar, submissive expression on Bo-young's face. Soo-hyun watches with a pained expression and finds her friend's behavior utterly pathetic given the circumstances. She realizes she cannot expect anything from her friend and decides she must confront the man herself to end the confrontation. A close-up shows a fist firmly grabbing the senior's black tank top with sudden force.
Soo-hyun and Han-ul are frozen in surprise as they watch the unexpected movement from their crying friend.
Bo-young trembles with tears streaming down her face and declares through her sobs that she is not a fool.
The senior looks down at her with a look of utter annoyance as he demands to know what she is trying to say. Bo-young admits she was okay with being ignored and used because of her own insecurities, but she cannot accept him doing the same to her friend. She breaks down further, telling him he should have just remained mean to her instead of targeting the person she cares about.
The group stands in heavy silence as the brown-haired girl continues to sob at the senior's feet.
Soo-hyun looks at her friend with a complex mix of pity and growing concern for her well-being.
A sudden low psh sounds as the senior lets out a mocking smirk and a derisive comment.
He looks down with a cold glare and tells her that while he let her off the hook before, she really doesn't know her place.
Soo-hyun's mouth twitches in rage as she decides that the current situation will not stand any longer. She bows her head low and braces herself while Han-ol watches her with a confused and questioning expression. A sudden, sharp "R" sounds as Soo-hyun slams her head into the senior's face with a powerful and violent strike.
The group watches in absolute shock while Soo-hyun huffs in anger and the senior stumbles back, clutching his face in pain.
Soo-hyun screams at the senior, calling him trash and dismissing his words as meaningless.
The senior growls in pain and threatens Soo-hyun, promising not to go easy on her just because she is a woman.
Soo-hyun taunts him for his willingness to strike women while Han-ol struggles to hold her back as she insists she can handle his violence.
A sudden, sharp series of shouts sounds as Soo-hyun challenges the senior to a test of endurance against his fists while the others watch in distress.
A sudden, low sob sounds as Soo-hyun accuses the man of being inhuman for exploiting and hurting those who show him affection. Bo-young trembles as narrative text questions if the senior truly believed he could get away with his crimes because he lacks limits. The senior mockingly dismisses their concerns, attributing Soo-hyun's anger to a victim mentality and an inability to live by instinct. A sudden, soft gasp sounds. Bo-young stands firm and pleads with the senior to stop harming her friend. The man sneers and wonders why so many people seem to forget their social standing. A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as an assistant teacher arrives and looks at the damaged door in horror. The woman panics over the property damage while the boy with glasses stands behind her in shock. Police officers arrive on the scene and announce they are responding to a report. Soo-hyun points a finger at the senior and identifies him as the culprit to the arriving officers.
The senior curses under his breath as he realizes the situation has escalated.
He tries to claim he is being unfairly accused while the assistant teacher frets over the broken fire extinguisher.
The senior denies any drugging occurred while Soo-hyun insists that a hospital blood test will provide the necessary evidence and demands his removal.
The senior dismisses her claims as nonsense while Han-ul holds up a specific object to get everyone's attention.
Han-ul explains that the senior was standing near the glass bottle when they first entered the room.
He adds that the man appeared to be trying to hide the drink based on what they saw from outside. Soo-hyun lets out a sudden shout of realization. A sudden, quick dash sounds as Soo-hyun rushes to a nearby table to grab her phone.
She stares intensely at her screen while the others gather around to see what she found.
She holds her phone out to the police officer and tells him to look at the contents. Soo-hyun explains that she recorded a video through a crack in the window showing a drink sitting on the table.
She shows them the now empty table and notes that the drink has been removed.
She points to the bottle Han-ul is holding and declares it to be the evidence they need. The evidence is held firmly. The senior curses as the police officer takes him into custody, suggesting they continue their discussion elsewhere. The group watches the arrest. The boy with glasses watches them leave from the doorway and confirms they are gone. A sudden, long sigh sounds as the group collapses in exhaustion and relief inside the room. Dae-in slowly opens her eyes and begins to regain consciousness on the sofa. Soo-hyun looks over in Fakras. Her friend finally wakes up. Narrative text describes Soo-hyun's past frustrations with being underestimated due to her height while Bo-young hugs the waking girl.
Han-ul looks down at the black-haired girl and asks how she's feeling.
Dae-in groggily asks how they all got there while narration mentions a hatred for being judged carelessly. Soo-hyun asks about her symptoms while Dae-in admits to feeling incredibly dizzy. Relief fills the small room. Dae-in offers a weak smile. A sudden, low sob sounds as Bo-young repeatedly apologizes to her friend through her tears. The group shares an omelet. Soo-hyun looks on and realizes she is beginning to understand the situation more clearly. Dae-in stretches her arms out and claims she slept well, asking if anything happened while she was out.
Soo-hyun and Bo-young react with a mix of shock and playful frustration at her nonchalant attitude.
The three girls embrace tenderly. The university stands quiet today.
Everyone gathers for a rest.
Soo-hyun pulls on her friend's arm and insists they go to the hospital immediately. Dae-in insists that she is healthy enough to attend her afternoon classes despite her friend's worries. Soo-hyun and Bo-young express their shock and insist she must leave for the hospital immediately. A sudden, firm movement stops the group in their tracks as a hand reaches out. Ji-hoon steps forward and offers to escort the girl himself.
Soo-hyun wants to join them, but Dae-in firmly states she can manage the situation on her own.
Dae-in notices their concern and urges her friends to calm down before their next class starts. She downplays the entire ordeal, claiming she simply fell asleep and wasn't bothered by what happened. She offers a bright, reassuring smile to show them she is truly fine. The sky turns orange at sunset as someone notes how much time they spent in the garden. Dae-in asks her companion about the consequences of missing their afternoon lecture. Ji-hoon checks his phone and mentions that attendance wasn't even taken for that session. Dae-in laughs nervously and worries that she is becoming a burden to him.
Ji-hoon stares ahead in contemplative silence.
He calls out to her, prompting a startled reaction. He shows her his phone and suggests they install a location tracking app for her safety.
Dae-in is completely blindsided and confused by his unexpected proposal.
Ji-hoon watches her with an intense and serious gaze. He reflects on his need to be prepared for any danger, even though he hopes today's incident won't repeat.
Diane looks away, processing his protective nature.
He promises to respect her privacy while she expresses her deep gratitude for his concern. She admits she feels unworthy of such kindness, leaving him puzzled. She quickly brushes off her doubt and happily agrees to set up the application with him. They exchange a polite farewell in front of a residential building.
Footsteps echo as someone walks away.
The rhythmic sound of walking continues down the quiet street.
A hand reaches out to open a door in the dim light. Diane enters her dark, quiet apartment with a weary expression.
Dark thoughts emerge about finding one's rightful place in the world.
She struggles with feelings of alienation and the sense that bad things happen when she doesn't belong.
Tears slowly stream down her face in the darkness. A cruel inner voice tells her that there is no place for her anywhere. Diane sobs quietly as she sits alone in the dark.
Students in a classroom gossip about the police arriving on campus the previous day. Soo-hyun is outraged as she overhears wild rumors about a small girl going on a rampage.
She is incredibly annoyed that she has become the subject of such ridiculous and inaccurate gossip. The group walks out of the room, wondering if the fake rumors are somehow better than the truth.
Soo-hyun considers how painful it must be for the person at the center of the rumors. An instructor calls Ji-hoon over to the front of the room. Ji-hoon tells the others to head out while he stays behind to speak with the teacher.
The teacher mentions reviewing a project file Ji-hoon submitted recently.
Soo-hyun and Bo-young are curious and ask what file he is referring to.
The teacher shows them a project summary and notes that the group deserves a failing grade.
He reveals that Ji-hoon requested to have Han-ul removed from the group project.
The teacher explains that Ji-hoon tried to take the full grade penalty on himself, which isn't allowed.
The teacher announces that Han-ul has taken an immediate leave of absence from the university.
Ji-hoon looks down in silence as the teacher considers the project objection resolved.
The teacher confirms the rest of the team will be fine as they continue with the remaining members. A sudden quick dash sounds as someone runs.
A sudden quick gasp sounds as Soo-hyun confronts Ji-hoon for handling the project sacrifice on his own.
Passers-by watch the shouting match and wonder if they are filming something for the internet. Soo-hyun grits her teeth and bellows Ji-hoon's name in a fit of concentrated rage as she looms over him.
A sudden sharp swipe sounds as a hand moves with intense and blurring speed across the frame.
A sudden quick thud sounds as Soo-hyun seizes the boy by the backpack and shakes him while he frantically pleads for her to release him.
Soo-hyun glares at the dizzy and overwhelmed boy, demanding an answer to her question, while bystanders watch the unfolding drama with interest. Soo-hyun asks why he tried to shoulder all the blame himself, leaving him stammering and unable to form a coherent response in his chibi form. She presses him further with an intense gaze, asking why he interfered when she was the one struggling with her own difficulties. Ji-hoon stammers nervously and wonders why she is asking such a question, his face flushed with embarrassment.
He looks down in a cold sweat, his face flushing deep red as he struggles with the intensity of his internal emotions.
Soo-hyun watches him with wide eyes and a bead of sweat on her face, her initial anger fading into genuine confusion.
A sudden firm grip sounds as he clutches his backpack strap with a trembling hand, struggling to find the words to explain his actions. He finally snaps and shouts his confession with a bright red face, declaring that he acted solely because he likes her.
The confession echoes through the air as the background fades, leaving a shocked Soo-hyun completely speechless in her chibi form.
Bo-young watches the scene in disbelief while a group of nearby students erupts into mocking laughter and captures the awkward moment on their phones.
Both of them are paralyzed by embarrassment in the sunlight, with Soo-hyun lamenting why such chaotic situations keep following her. The police station stands tall and quiet under the morning sun as the scene shifts to the legal aftermath of the prior conflict.
A sudden polite bow sounds as Dae-in thanks a man while her blue-haired companion stands by her side in front of the station.
Narrative text introduces Cha Jang-yoon, an expert lawyer at a large firm, and Soo-hyun's eldest sister, as she receives a word of thanks.
Jung-yoon looks at Diane with a serious expression and assures her they will navigate the legal process together, urging her to remain strong.
She asks if they are ready to depart for the day as she carries her briefcase toward the exit of the police grounds.
A sudden nervous fidgeting sounds as Diane hesitates and grips the sleeves of her jacket while the others watch her.
She looks at her companions with a weary gaze and admits that she is considering reaching a settlement with the man who hurt her. Jung-yoon and the blue-haired boy react with immediate shock and concern to her sudden and unexpected change of heart.
Diane looks away with a somber and pained expression, her eyes reflecting the heavy burden of her choice.
A sudden, long sigh sounds as Daein sits alone on a wooden bench, lost in the weight of her difficult circumstances.
A business card is presented on a dark surface as Han-ol's lawyer, Nam Hyun-woo, introduces himself to the girl and confirms her identity.
A sudden low hum sounds as the lawyer pressures her to settle, claiming the hospital results were clear and arguing that both students have bright futures to protect.
A sudden, sharp pang sounds as the man warns her that her parents will suffer a great deal of worry if the legal case drags on.
Daein rationalizes the decision to her friends, claiming that since nothing irreversible happened, she shouldn't be the one to block someone's entire future.
A sudden, quick grab sounds as the blue-haired boy reaches out to stop her, clearly distressed by her willingness to compromise.
He watches her with an expression of deep concern and alarm, his brow furrowed as he realizes her resolve is wavering.
A sudden, slow shake sounds as Jang Yoon looks on with a grim face, clearly disagreeing with the path the girl is taking.
Daein is haunted by a dark memory of her parents' anger, remaining terrified of them ever finding out about the incident she survived.
A sudden, heavy silence sounds as she looks away and convinces herself that a settlement isn't a significant ordeal in the grand scheme of things. A sudden, weak smile sounds as she tries to convince herself and the others that it is better for everyone to just smooth things over.
Her companion stares at her in a stunned and mournful silence, unable to reconcile her current attitude with the trauma she experienced.
Jung-yoon promises to respect whatever decision makes the girl feel most comfortable and pledges her full support regardless of the choice. She offers the pair a ride in her car as she prepares to leave the station parking lot. Daein politely declines the ride and thanks her companions once more for their unwavering help throughout the difficult morning. A sudden, sharp buzz sounds as the boy's phone vibrates in his hand while Daein bids him a cheerful and energetic farewell. A text message from the lawyer's sister advises the boy to reassure Daein and watch over her tactfully without forcing her to settle. Daein notices his sudden distraction and curiously asks if there is important news appearing on his phone screen. He quickly pockets the device and dismisses her concern with a serious look, claiming it was nothing important.
Later that night, the boy lies in bed and stares at his phone in deep and silent contemplation.
The university campus appears peaceful and grand under the afternoon sun, a stark contrast to the previous day's chaos. A sudden light step sounds as Boyoung and Soohyun walk down the hall, happily discussing the quality of their recent lunch. Their conversation is interrupted by a group of students who recognize the girl from the university board and call her out mockingly. A sudden low growl sounds as Soohyun expresses her disgust at the group of gossipers who seem to follow her everywhere in a pack.
A sudden, cheerful shout sounds as the boy with glasses jumps in and claims credit for her rising popularity on the campus boards.
A sudden, quick shove sounds as Soohyun angrily pushes him away and demands to know what on earth he is talking about. The boy scratches his head in confusion while his friends laugh at his failed attempt at humor in the background. Boyoung and Soohyun stare in utter shock at a phone being held up to them by an unseen person.
In a comedic chibi scene, Soohyun fumes with rage while the boy in the green hoodie claps and laughs mockingly at her expense.
The phone screen displays a video of Soohyun's prior confrontation with Jihoon, with captions questioning if she uploaded it to a platform called Eda.
A sudden, quick swipe sounds as Soohyun demands the immediate deletion of both the video and the post while she is asking nicely.
The boy in the green hoodie smirks and asks if the person in the video is her secret fling, much to her annoyance.
Soohyun erupts in a fiery rage, insisting they aren't together, while the boy tells her to show some mercy to the person who confessed.
A sudden, long sigh sounds as Soohyun questions why she is constantly subjected to such embarrassing and painful situations.
The black-haired boy sitting on the bench calls her a magnet for humiliation and asks how such things always happen to her. He asks if Jihoon's courage is amazing, but the red-haired girl calls it a nuisance while Soohyun grumbles about her lack of allies. The black-haired boy notes that Jihoon isn't forcing her to accept him and comments on how hard the boy is trying his best. Boyoung blushes and admits she found the public confession to be incredibly romantic and moving. The boy points at Boyoung and suggests to the red-haired girl that they should try dating since their views on romance are similar. Boyoung becomes flustered and asks why he is twisting her words in such a ridiculous manner. The red-haired girl rests her head on her hand and declares she has no interest in any university romance or campus couples. Boyoung looks confused while the boy continues his teasing and the girl calls him impossible to talk to. A close-up shows the red-haired girl asking if he truly believes this school is the only place to find men.
Boyoung clasps her hands together as her eyes sparkle with intense and sparkly admiration for the girl's bluntness.
Boyoung remains in a state of starry-eyed wonder while Soohyun looks on with a suspicious and exhausted expression.
A sudden, light step sounds as Daein and her blue-haired companion walk through the university hallway.
Daein stops abruptly as she thinks she recognizes her own name being spoken by the group around the corner.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as she overhears them asking if she was the girl from the physical education department incident.
The group sits together on a bench discussing the rumors about a male senior who was recently taken away by the police.
Soo-hyun looks away nervously while Bo-young fidgets, their anxiety growing as the gossip about the arrest continues to unfold.
Someone mentions that the arrested senior was famous for his bad reputation regarding his behavior toward women.
The red-haired girl looks thoughtful as she listens to the details of the senior's arrest and reputation.
Bo-young nervously suggests that the incident probably didn't happen because of the girl mentioned in the rumors. Soo-hyun keeps her eyes closed and adds that she doesn't think it was because of Bo-young either. Dae-in listens from the shadows, her face pale with terror as the group wonders who caused the senior to be taken away.
A sudden, rapid heartbeat sounds as Diane panics, fearing she won't be able to handle another rumor spreading about her.
The blue-haired boy watches Dae-in with concern as she stands frozen and distressed in the hallway.
A sudden, soft gasp sounds as Soo-hyun considers her words while Dae-in pleads in silence for the truth to be kept secret.
A wide shot shows the hallway where the group talks on the bench, unaware that Dae-in and her friend are hiding nearby.
Soo-hyun is shown in several frantic poses as she desperately tries to think of a believable excuse for the police visit.
She tells the group that the police arrived because she smashed a door and caused a public scene.
The boy on the bench points out the flaw in her logic, stating that she would have been arrested if that were the case.
A sudden loud crack sounds as a reality panel shows Soo-hyun headbutting a senior with such force that he spits blood.
Soo-hyun reflects in silence, acknowledging that while her story is a lie, it is true that Han-ul intended to hit her.
She manages to explain the arrest as a conflict over a group project and the senior's constant absences from class. Bo-young nods vigorously in support while Soo-hyun asks how they managed to find out about the arrest in the first place.
A sudden, sharp clap sounds as the red-haired girl proudly boasts about her investigative skills, and her friend applauds.
Soo-hyun thinks to herself that her friend should have studied detective work instead of her current major. She jokingly claims her own skills are only half as good and prepares to head into her next class.
A sudden, steady footstep sounds as the boy on the bench notes that class is starting and they should all move along.
A sudden, ragged breath sounds as a close-up shows Dae-in hyperventilating in a state of intense panic.
A memory of Soo-hyun's lie about breaking the door appears in a faded and ethereal white frame.
A sudden, heavy panting sounds as Dae-in collapses to the floor and the blue-haired boy kneels to help her.
A sudden, gentle tap sounds as he places a comforting hand on her shoulder to steady her.
A cover image features a smiling version of Da-in with her hands on her face against a patterned background.
A high-angle shot reveals a quiet library study hall with students scattered at various tables during the afternoon.
Dae-in studies intently on her tablet while the blue-haired boy works beside her in the quiet library.
Soo-hyun and Bo-young study diligently at a table in the quiet university library. A sudden, long stretch sounds as Soo-hyun notes the library is emptier than expected for exam season.
She pauses her work and looks over at the blue-haired boy sitting across from her.
He works through English proficiency problems while wondering if there's something important he has forgotten.
The boy remains focused on his studies, wearing earphones to block out any potential distractions.
He looks up and asks Soo-hyun how much the cleaning bill was for her clothes.
Soo-hyun tells him she'll cover the cost and asks him to let her know the total.
She recalls stepping on him earlier, but he reassures her it's fine since it wasn't intentional.
The boy stares back at her with a calm and unreadable expression. Soo-hyun and Bo-young look at him with a mix of curiosity and slight confusion.
He suggests that if she truly feels bad, she should just buy him a cake instead. Soo-hyun is baffled by the request and asks if his outfit was particularly expensive.
A comedic scene follows as she slumps over the table in a daze while he continues studying.
He admits he didn't purchase the clothes himself and asks for a favor in the future instead.
Chibi versions of the pair appear as they agree to discuss the mysterious favor at a later time. A sudden, sharp glare sounds as Soo-hyun stares at him, convinced the favor will never happen.
Diane arrives at the table looking exhausted, drawing the attention of her two friends.
Soo-hyun asks about her part-time job, but Diane explains she decided to take a break.
A sudden light tap sounds as Diane's hands tremble while she claims she is feeling unwell.
Bo-young watches her with a deeply concerned expression, sensing that something is very wrong.
Diane feels a pang of guilt, thinking that Bo-young can't even relax because of her. A sudden quick perk sounds as Soo-hyun tentatively asks if the investigation is going well.
She leans in and whispers, referring to the incident that took place recently.
A sudden sharp gasp sounds as Dae-in freezes, her eyes widening in a moment of panic.
The blue-haired boy watches her reaction closely, his expression turning serious and attentive.
The group sits together at the table, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken tension. Diane looks down and laments to herself about constantly making those around her feel uncomfortable.
A dark and distorted memory flashes by, featuring angry demands for her to stay silent.
Diane's lips part slightly as she prepares to respond to her friend's concerns.
A sudden, bright smile sounds as she tries to lighten the mood, insisting she is fine.
She attributes her time off to overworking and the stress of the upcoming exams. A sudden, quick clap sounds as she promises to act more responsibly once the period ends.
She continues her cheerful facade, repeating that she is totally fine to reassure them. Under the table, her fist clenches tightly as she urges them not to worry about her. The boy stares at her with a piercing look, unconvinced by her forced positivity. A hazy and painful memory appears of Diane hyperventilating while the boy tried to help. She looks away with a determined face, stating her intention to become a better person.
Bo-young remains silent, her heart aching as she sees the pain Diane is trying to hide.
A sudden nervous fidget sounds as Bo-young watches her friend, unable to find the right words.
A sudden, sharp twitch sounds as Diane's expression falters, her eyes welling with unshed tears.
She lowers her head as the weight of her trauma finally begins to break through.
With a trembling voice, she announces her decision to settle the legal case. The announcement leaves Soo-hyun and Bo-young in a state of utter shock and disbelief. Soo-hyun's mouth hangs open as she struggles to comprehend the sudden change of heart.
A sudden, weak tremor sounds as Diane argues it is better to let things go for the senior's future.
The blue-haired boy looks her in the eye and asks where the benefit is her.
Soo-hyun is frozen in shock, her eyes wide as the tension at the table reaches a peak.
Diane stares at the boy, caught off guard by his blunt and direct inquiry. He tells her plainly that there is nothing good in this decision for her at all.
The four students sit in a profound and uncomfortable silence following his harsh truth.
The blue-haired boy stares intensely at Diane, reminding her that her past luck doesn't diminish the reality of what she endured.
Bo-young shouts in frustration, pointing out that the senior didn't care about Diane's future, so she shouldn't worry about his.
An oppressive and heavy atmosphere descends as the weight of the conversation sinks in.
A distorted and painful memory flashes of a man in glasses screaming at Diane, calling her useless for speaking up and ruining everything.
Bo-young reaches out and firmly grasps Diane's hands, promising to enlist her brother's help and support her through the entire process. She looks into Diane's eyes with fierce determination, urging her not to let the matter slide just for the sake of getting along.
Diane's eyes begin to well with tears as the emotional support from her friends starts to break her guard. With a trembling voice and tears streaming down her face, she asks if it really is acceptable for her to stop enduring the pain in silence.
Bo-young and Soo-hyun shout their support in a burst of enthusiasm, holding her hands tight and reassuring her that she is doing the right thing.
A sudden soft sob sounds as Diane wipes her eyes with her sleeve, overwhelmed by the realization that she doesn't have to fight alone.
A sudden gentle tap sounds as a hand is placed on Daren's shoulder to steady her.
Ji-hoon looks at her calmly and adds that his older sister also strongly advises against settling the case.
Diane stops crying for a moment, looking at him with wide and surprised eyes at the mention of his sister's opinion.
She looks bewildered by the sudden revelation, while the boy remains focused on the practical side of the situation.
Bo-young and Soo-young are both shocked, demanding to know what sister he is talking about and why he hadn't mentioned her before.
He explains that his older sister is a professional lawyer and that he already consulted her about the details of Diane's case.
A sudden, frantic gasp sounds as Bo-young becomes incredibly flustered, admitting her own brother isn't even a lawyer yet, while Ji-hoon already has an expert on standby.
She playfully scolds him for not speaking up sooner, while Diane watches them with a small, genuine smile.
The group continues their discussion at the library table, reflecting on the common pressure people feel to just let things go.
Diane realizes that such advice is usually directed at victims who are perceived to have nothing to gain by standing their ground.
Soo-hyun praises Bo-young for being cool, though Bo-young pouts and finds the compliment less than comforting in her current state. A sudden firm squeeze sounds as the two girls hold hands across the table, their bond strengthened by the shared resolution.
A bright illustration features Bo-young and Diane side by side, symbolizing their unity and the beginning of a new chapter. Later at a cafe, Bo-young explains the legal nuances, noting that a settlement won't stop the prosecution, but only serves as a factor in sentencing. Elsewhere, a professional woman in glasses stands firm as a stressed man in a suit begs her not to pursue the case so aggressively.
Bo-young recalls a past confession from a boy in glasses and wonders if she can find the same courage to resolve her own lingering issues.
In the classroom, the professor announces that the midterm exam will be replaced by a team project report and classes are canceled for the week.
A sudden, awkward shuffle sounds as the boy with glasses leaves the room, stiffly wishing Bo-young luck on her exams while she watches him leave.
In the hallway, a group of students gossips about Diane, laughing as they wonder if she skipped a blind date because she already found a boyfriend. Bo-young looks annoyed by the rumors, while Soo-hyun's eyes sparkle with excitement at the mere mention of a blind date.
Chibi versions of the girls celebrate with a loud cheer as the final exam period officially comes to an end.
The group gathers outside the university building, and Soo-hyun excitedly asks if everyone is ready to go out and celebrate with a meal.
Students fill the lecture hall, grumbling about the start of the practical activity phase of their coursework.
A sudden, heavy thud sounds as the boy with glasses drops his bag on the desk, and Bo Young suggests they plan their project schedule next class.
As they walk through the hall, Bo Young notes that they will have to spend even more time together to complete the upcoming practical activities.
A sudden, heavy footstep sounds as the boy follows behind them in a state of visible social anxiety, making Bo Young worry about the awkward atmosphere.
A sudden, sharp tug sounds as she grips her bag strap, finally deciding that she can no longer tolerate the uncomfortable silence between them.
A sudden, firm stop sounds as her sneakers plant on the floor and she turns around to face him directly.
She calls out his name, Yoo Ji-hoon, catching him completely off guard.
He stops and turns toward her, his face flushing red as he nervously fidgets with his hands.
He thanks her for her help with the professor, acknowledging that she risked her own grade to speak up on his behalf. He admits that he was short-sighted for pushing her away, and that he didn't initially understand the kindness of her actions.
Bo Young smiles brightly, admitting that while she gained some unwanted notoriety, her main goal is simply to finish the semester project successfully.
She tells him plainly that continuing their awkward behavior is a hindrance, and that they need to move past it for the sake of the team.
A sudden, heavy sigh sounds as he clenches his fists and looks down, seemingly relieved to finally have the air cleared. A sudden, long breath sounds as Bo Young exhales, feeling the weight of the social tension finally lifting from her shoulders. She reflects on how rumors and notoriety eventually fade away if one just stays focused on their own path.
A wide, happy smile spreads across her face as she feels a sense of peace and closure regarding the recent drama.
She reinforces her point, telling him that being awkward is no longer an option if they want to succeed together. A sudden, cheerful wave sounds as she says goodbye and walks away with a light step, leaving the boys standing in the hallway.
Bo Young tells Diane it's time to go, while a sudden, quiet hesitate sounds as Yoo Ji-hoon pauses behind them in the hallway.
Upon reaching the exit, Bo Young and Diane realize they are caught in the rain without umbrellas and gasp in surprise. Bo Young holds her hand out to catch the rain, wondering if there was even a forecast for today. A sudden, light plink sounds as a drop hits her palm.
Diane regrets her lack of preparation, while Bo Young remains optimistic and suggests they simply run to the next building since it is close.
The girls prepare to dash into the rain, though Diane is visibly nervous about the plan. A sudden, firm rustle sounds as Bo Young prepares to run.
Yoo Ji-hoon calls out for them to wait as he catches up to them at the entrance. A sudden, heavy footstep sounds as he stops nearby.
Both girls pause and turn back to see what he wants. Yoo Ji-hoon reaches into his bag and offers them his umbrella to use. A sudden, smooth slide sounds as he presents it to them.
Diane points out the distance to his next class at the engineering college, suggesting he needs the umbrella more than they do.
He insists they take it because they are together while he is alone, and a sudden, light brush sounds as their hands touch during the handoff.
Bo Young is stunned into silence as he admits his main concern is that she doesn't get caught in the rain.
Rain falls as the group stands.
Bo Young utters his name in surprise just as Yoo Ji-hoon confesses his feelings for her. A sudden, tight grip sounds as she clutches her bag in shock.
Bo Young reacts with panic denial while Yoo Ji-hoon turns away with a bright, flustered face. A sudden, loud pop sounds as the tension peaks.
She attempts to address him by name, her expression one of utter bewilderment at his unexpected words. Yoo Ji-hoon shouts that he refuses to pretend that nothing happened between them, leaving Bo Young frozen in place. A sudden, loud shout sounds as he reveals his inner turmoil.